It's been a long time. It's been a long time, but welcome back. Welcome back to Deconstructing Christianity. I'm your host, Coach Renz, and I know it's been a minute. It's been a week, 11 days since we've done a live. Finally feeling 100% almost, but we're back. We're back. Guess who's back? Once again. I don't like that version of being on my screen. Anyway, we are back live with Deconstructing Christianity. I am your host, Coach Renz, and look forward to having a great show today. Quite sure it's going to be a fantabulous show. Hope you guys miss me. I really miss you guys. I don't know what I would do without you. It's been such a time. Anyway, hope you guys have had a great, what was it? That was Thanksgiving week that we missed. Hope you guys had a good time, peaceful time there. Enjoy some family members and so on and so forth. Hopefully you got a chance to get some rest, take some time off, go and visit some people. What up, Bishop Nubs? But hopefully you guys had some good Turkey Day. Can't say mine was all great since I spent most of it, feeling like my body was betraying me. But all in all, still had a good week, good time frame, good time spending it with my bride. So we're all here. So it's after Thanksgiving. Now we're getting ready to move into the next holiday season. I know y'all got a lot going on, but I don't want you to forget about the fact that we have our cruise for next year. You can go on my Facebook page at Coach Renz 33, and you will find the information there on the featured link. Featured link on my Facebook page at Coach Renz 33, where we're taking our cruise next year. Go ahead and put your $100 down now. Get yourself scheduled, get yourself set up, put yourself on a payment plan. That way you can have it all taken care of as we go and see Chichen Itza. But take that time on the cruise and have some great conversations and have a great time with building and joining and communicating with one another. After that, other than that, on December 14th, coming up real soon. You guys know I love talking about business just as much as I talk about this. So I'm doing a seminar called the 9 businesses you need to start in 2026. 9 things you need to be doing in 2026 in order to increase your finances. If you're not doing these things, then I don't want to hear you complaining in about 5 to 6 years. Don't want to hear any complaining. Right. If 5 to 6 years from now you're saying, damn, I wish I could have, dang, I didn't know this was going to explode. Man, I could have, should have, what? Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it. You know how I am about that. When you have the opportunity to get something done, when you have the opportunity to find out about something and then move forward in it, if you don't do it, I don't want to hear anything about, I shoulda, coulda, woulda at the end, because that don't matter. All right. Don't want to hear none of that. So we're doing that December 14th. I didn't put the link in it. Let me grab the link real quick. You can only find this link on my YouTube and Facebook page. It's my Eventbrite link. You're only going to find it there. And I forget. So for those on TikTok who may ask the question, where can I get the link? You're only going to find it. I'm putting it in the comments here on Facebook and YouTube. Put it in the comments on Facebook and YouTube. So look forward to that. Gonna have fun. Let's see, anything else coming up? I think that's about it. I don't think there's anything else. Okay, you got the cruise. Got the cruise that we're all doing. December 14th, the webinar on 9 businesses you need to start in 2026. I think that's it. I think that's all that's coming up. I think that's all that's coming up. So I mean, I do have some travel plans in this month, but I need to get them solidified first. And it's cold outside, so I don't know if I'm gonna be doing much during these travels. But anyway, what's our conversation for today? So our conversation for Friday. Oh, thank you. Friday. This Friday, 7 p.m. Central time zone. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. I will be on Truth Wanted. So it'll be a nighttime, it's an evening show. But the Atheist Experience, one of the atheist organization out of Austin, Texas, one of the largest atheist organization in the world, has invited yours truly to be a part of their show, Truth Wanted. I will this week on Friday. Just I don't know how I forgot this one because I just sent them the confirmation email yesterday. But yeah, so this Friday at 7 p.m. Central time zone. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. I will be on Truth Wanted. I look forward to you guys being there. Come in, listen. It's a different type show. Instead of me being the interviewer, I'll be the interviewee in a sense. But it's a call-in show. It's a national call-in show. Well, I guess worldwide call-in show. So you'll get to hear from different types of callers from different places on different things. The show is only an hour and a half, so it's not like this one. But it's an hour and a half show. But the show is called Truth Wanted. You can find it's on YouTube. There's a YouTube page for it. Truth Wanted. I will be doing more information. I put out some more information about it. I'll continuously remind you guys as we go through the week. And of course, on Thursday, I will give you a big reminder so that you can catch me on Truth Wanted on Friday. All right. So, okay. Thank you for reminding me, but that's it. So here we are. So here's the question of the day. This is the question that we have today. Is Christianity white supremacy? To avoid having my channel, censored, I put YT on there. That kind of irritates me that I have to put that on there. Why we got to hide some of our ways of speaking irritates the shit out of me. But yes, is Christianity white supremacy? This is the question that we will dive into today and hopefully have some other additional great conversations about it. So let me give you a quick rundown and then you tell me what you think. Now, many people start their ideas of Christianity, the modern day forms of Christianity that people practice here in America and in most of the world. Most people look at it through the lens that it was spread through colonization. That's not untrue. It was spread through colonization. But whether it was spread through colonization or not, we have to look at what the roots of the actual wording, because we know that the doctrine of the religion changes constantly. So when we can easily just say that, well, look, it came from, no matter if you're Protestant or Methodist, Baptist, Church of Christ, Church of God, non-denominational, it doesn't matter if you're any of those things. Because ultimately, even though you may have different doctrines, ultimately, your form of Christianity comes from Rome. Whether we go back far enough to the Protestant Reformation with Martin Luther, and yeah, he made some changes, but the primary idea of Christianity still comes from Catholicism. So it still comes from Rome. It still comes from the Pope. It still comes from the Roman Catholic. It still comes from everything that happened with Theodosius, Emperor Theodosius in 381. It still goes all the way back. It still comes from the Council of Nicaea, which organized Christianity under one style of Christianity. 381, 382, Theodosius said that I'm going to kill anybody else who doesn't practice the kind of Christianity that we practice. There was only two groups that you may be able to claim, they practice a different form. And that's the Eastern Orthodox and the Ethiopian Orthodox. But then you must ask yourself, who taught them? Well, the very same people that taught them are the very same ones that also created the Roman style of Christianity. Right. So historically, we know this is a fact. Oh yeah, I see we have a detractor up there, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You can people. You here's the thing about this information and what I provide. You can disagree all day because your feelings, but unless you can back it up with facts, your disagreement is just your feelings. And y'all know how I feel about feelings when it comes to these types of things. Fuck your feelings. Right. So we can look at things like manifest destiny. We, as Bishop Nubb is saying, we can look at different things like that. But at the end of the day, it comes from Rome. Now, when you go before that, nobody knows what type of Christianity Marcionism was, or Valentinus Christianity, or Lucian Christianity. Nobody knows what type of Christianity was actually practiced in first century, right? And while people say, what is Rupert is saying, now how can Christianity be white supremacy when all the main characters are black? That matters not, sir. But I'm gonna get there. So you can have characters who may have been originally people of color, but when you look at the mindset of anybody who practices Christianity, you're looking at a Caucasian. The most common version of Jesus, Caucasian. The most common versions of Yahweh, Caucasian. The most common version of the angels, Caucasian. The most common version of Moses and Abraham, Caucasian. You can know these things to be a fact. But if you had 100 black people, brown people, Asian people who all claim Christianity, and you set them in a room and say, all right, imagine Jesus describing right now. Most of them are going to describe a white man. 99% of them are going to describe a white man because, boom, that's the image that's going to first come into their mind. First one coming in their mind, because that's what they've been trained to believe. That's what they've been trained to believe. And we can lie to ourselves, as Rupert lying to himself. No one taught the Ethiopians they got the information from God and their elders, even though the Ethiopian history, because I don't know if he probably never been to Ethiopia. Frumentius, it is recorded in Ethiopian history, not Roman history, not Egyptian history, not American history, but in the Ethiopian Orthodox history. It is taught that Frumentius shipwrecked in Ethiopia when it was called the Axiom Empire. King Hazana allowed him to go back. He got permission from the church in Alexandria to come back down and teach Christianity to King Hazana because he was interested in it, because of the it would allow him to have better relationships with Rome. King Hazana then learned Christianity, and then he forced Christianity onto the rest of Ethiopia in order to have better trade relations with Rome. This is the history of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church that even they still teach. But here's the arrogance of Americans. The arrogance of Americans is that whatever I say your history is, that's what your history is. Because I can guarantee that 99% of these black people run around talking about, oh, Ethiopia. One, ain't now one of you motherfuckers been to Ethiopia. That's number one. Number two, ain't now one of you motherfuckers practicing Ethiopian Christianity. You're not practicing the very form, like when black people like to say, oh, well, Ethiopia was in Africa before it was in America, so therefore it can't be a white supremacy. How many of you motherfuckers practicing Ethiopian Christianity? I mean, really, how many are practicing Ethiopian Christianity? You just lied about glorious Ethiopia. Uh, You know what? You must be new to this channel. Cap, you must be new because you ain't right. We need some information. You can't. You just lied. That don't move the pot. So, but Christianity is not Christianity if it had not been for the Romans. No, not one person. So Roman style Christianity was around before King Azana converted Ethiopia into Christianity, right? So before 330 CE, Christianity had already been in Rome. It had already been in Europe. It had already been in North Africa. It had already been, just pockets all around the Roman Empire. And there was various versions of Christianity before 330 all around the Roman Empire, right? All the way up to Hadrian's Wall, you can find signs of Christianity that predates Ethiopia converting over to Christianity all around the Roman Empire. The reason why people like to jump on Ethiopia because Ethiopia was the second state to claim to be a second state to claim Christianity as their state religion. But before that, it was all over the Roman Empire, taught to them by the Egyptian Christians. The Egyptian Christians, easily to understand how Christianity migrated out of uh, the Levant in the first century and became part of, and flowed into Egypt, flowed up into Turkey, Asia Minor, and started just flowing all over the place. It's a natural understanding that it came out of the Levant. Now, many people like to say, well, it's an African religion because the Middle East sits on the African plate. And since it sits on the African plate, then it's an African religion. That's stupid. That your idea, that your mindset says that, oh, because it sits on the African plate, it's an African religion. So for my West African ancestors who got pulled over here through slavery, oh, it was on the African plate, so it was in Africa first. That does not make it a black religion. That does not make it the religion of my ancestors. Let me put it that way. It does not make it the religion of my ancestors, not even slightly. I have not one ancestor that comes from Ethiopia, comes from Egypt, comes from the Levant. So therefore, I have no ancestors that would have practiced this religion prior to the transatlantic slave trade, prior to the colonization of West Africa. So simply because it was on the African plate, that means nothing. Because it was in Egypt, because it was in Ethiopia, you do realize that Africa is bigger than Ethiopia. Africa is bigger than Egypt. That Africa is huge. That sub-Saharan Africa is a larger portion. Huge. When you cut from the Sahara down, huge amount of space, huge amount of land, whole bunch of people who ain't never heard of Jesus until a sword or a gun was placed in front of their faces. So, is Christianity white supremacy? That, although Christianity may not have started as white supremacy, although it may have only been kind of a free-for-all for the first 300 years, 400 at max, from 382 up until today, Christianity has been simply white supremacy. Go to almost any country in the world where Christianity is practiced, and the overwhelming majority of the forms of Christianity is from the very ones who colonized, brutalized, and enslaved those people. Go to any of these places, the overwhelming majority of the visuals of Christianity revolves around placing Godhead and godliness in the form of a person who does not look like the people within their group, their people group. Oh, and I love this one. Hold on. I just saw one word within this one. I haven't read what the hell he's saying, but I saw one word that always find great interest in me. You know, let me put my glasses. I don't even know what he's saying. I don't even know what his argument is. I know it wrong as hell. There was before Fermentius 8, and he arose and went back, and behold, a man of Ethiopia, a eunuch of great authority under Candace, queen of Ethiopia, who had the charge of all her treasures and had to come to Jerusalem for worship. 28, he was returning and sitting in his chariot. Oh, read Elijah, the prophet. So this, what Rupert is claiming is that because the Bible says that an Ethiopian eunuch in Acts 8, that the Ethiopian eunuch came across the great Isaiah scroll, and the Ethiopian eunuch then, who was a part of the royal court of Queen Candace of Ethiopia in first century, that he went back and he taught them Christianity. Isn't that amazing? So the first problem that you have with this is that at the time frame that Luke is being written, the word Ethiopia just means land of the burnt face, just burnt face people, land of the burnt face. If this was talking about the Axiom Empire, which at that time frame, first century, it would have been Axiom Empire or the DMT, then there was no Queen Candace who was running Ethiopia, though what the land you call Ethiopia today, that we call Ethiopia. No one named Queen Candace was running it at that time frame. Second, there is no evidence that anyone in Ethiopia in first century converted over to Christianity. The government, the Axiom Empire in first century, all the way up until 330, was a polytheistic religion. There are no Christian temples, no Christian churches. There was no Christian teachings that was in Ethiopia from first century, second century, and third century. It's not until the fourth century that you have Christianity. There's zero archaeology in Ethiopia that shows any forms of Christianity in the first century CE. So your Ethiopian, your Acts 8 is what's called a lie. It's a lie. That's all it is. It's a lie. It's a understanding that don't exist. It's something to make you feel happy. There was no Ethiopian eunuch. And this story is only, in order for you to validate this, you have to have additional contemporary information to show that Ethiopia, the royalty of Ethiopia, was converted over to Christianity in first century, around 64 CE. Where's the evidence of that? But we do see evidence that they were polytheistic the whole time up until the Axiom Empire converted in 330. So I like how the Bible said, the Bible saying means absolutely nothing if there's not something outside of it to it that would collaborate it. Now, if it's about your the morality of the Bible or your spirituality of the Bible, that's all you need. But when the Bible tried to claim something historical, you have to have additional collaboration, and that you don't. And Mr. James over on Facebook, I'm gonna institute a new rule. If all you can do is come on here and insult someone without adding to the conversation, I'm not gonna wait for the audience to want to vote you off the island. I'm gonna just block you my damn self. Because if all you can do is come on here and say the same stupid shit that you say every time and not add to the conversation, and it's not that I want everybody on here agreeing with me, because I don't. Right. But if all you're going to do is come on here, and let me give you an example. Let me be specific as to what you say. If all you're going to come up here and say, yes, for a black man, you don't know what you're talking about me. You are so good news, uneducated, because that's not true at all. What you're saying is false. And I'm not messing up people on TikTok. That's literally what he said. So if that's all you're going to do, I'm just being honest with you right now. If you're not adding to the conversation, then I will kick you off the island. It's just that simple. I'm too old to be listening, seeing stupid shit all the time. If that doesn't have anything. So I mean, at least Rupert try to add some stuff. Rupert adds stuff. He adds to the conversation. You don't. So unless you can get a little bit brighter and better, you will be kicked off the island. It's the first Fred, next James. That's just how it goes. Now, I'm respectfully, let's see what his response was here. I'm on the struggle bus with mine. I am added to the conversation because I'm telling you the truth, and you don't want to hear the truth. For a black man who don't want to hear the truth, it makes you so ignorant. Okay, so that's pretty much kind of the same stupid stuff. So let me see what you're adding to the conversation here. Because just a whole bunch of you don't want to hear the truth is not adding to the conversation. Because see, just constantly trying to insult people, we're not gonna do that. Oh, you're not very smart. You're not very intelligent. You don't know how to write a complete sentence. So anyway, we're gonna see how it goes. If he adds to the conversation, he adds to the conversation. If he doesn't add to the conversation, he will get voted out. Is everything okay here? What up, Myron? Everything's great. Everything's great. So, oh shit. What the fuck what did I just do? I just did something on TikTok. I don't know what I did. I was trying to hit a different button, but something popped up. Oh, because people would be inviting you to shit. And I hit whatever it was. Okay. Glad y'all didn't see it. All right. Let's see. So the here's the thing. There is not one form of Christianity that is alive and well on the planet today that cannot find their roots back to Rome. In some form of fashion, your roots go back to Rome. Now, of course, many people have done many horrible things in the name of Christianity, right? In the name of Christianity, so many hellish things have been done by black people, by white people, by Asian people, by if you want to go nationalities, by the Irish, by the English, by the Americans, by every group. We can even see it today where you got people from every race and every nationality are doing evil things in the name of Christianity. But there is not one form of Christianity that does not go back to Rome. You cannot name a form that goes back to Rome. So does that make Christianity a form of white supremacy is the question. What do you guys think? Put a 1 in the comment if you think it comes from, if it is white supremacy. Put a 2 if it's not. All right, see a 1. Got some 1s. Got James making an incoherent statement. Got some 1s. Got some. Okay, so James agreed that Christianity goes back to Rome and is white supremacy. I'm laughing because I think, isn't that what I said? Put a 1 in the comment if Christianity goes back to Rome and is right. What was the damn question? Wasn't that the question? I confused myself because he shouldn't be agreeing with me. If Christianity, since Christianity goes all the way back to Rome, is Christianity a form of white supremacy? Put a 1 in the comment. Put a 2 if you disagree. That should be the question. If you agree that it's a form of white supremacy, put a 1 in the comments, since all forms of modern day, any type of Christianity goes back to Rome. Right? Not one version of, name me one version of Christianity that does not go back to Rome. Your name is way too long for me to read. It's not white supremacy. So, okay, is European supremacy? This is funny. What is this person? American race categories aren't actually races. A Nigerian is not the same race as an Ethiopian, just like an Icelandic is not the same race as an Eastern Slav. The skin color is not the race. First of all, race was not created by Americans. Race was created by Europeans. And the secondary part of your commentary here, because it actually has nothing to do with our conversation, is the fact that what you are talking about would be considered ethnicity in America. So an American wouldn't say that a Nigerian and an Ethiopian, yes, we would say that we would say that a Nigerian and an Ethiopian are of the same race, but we would also distinguish that a Nigerian and Ethiopian are from a different ethnic group. So if you try to blanket America, so when you say American race category, but then you input ethnicity, then you're muddying the waters of your statement. So we don't do that. If we talk about race, it's the overall grouping. But then you're talking about ethnicity. We wouldn't look at that as the same way. So make up your mind as to what part of the conversation you're talking about. It's basically what I'm saying. Don't try to say that we can't distinguish between ethnicity and race, because we do. You just want to marry them together. Okay, I probably missed some good shit dealing with dumb shit. I think it started. Okay, let's see. Is anybody naming a form of Christianity that does not have its roots back to Rome? Christianity is not white supremacy, but white supremacists use Christianity. Okay, it's a thought process. That's a true. White supremacy does use Christianity. But let me ask you this question then. Is the Roman form of Christianity Eurocentric? What's your name? Matt. Because if it's Eurocentric, then it's white supremacy. Did they not take the characters and turn them into European characters? Did they not convert the language and the names into European names? Did they not make the characters more favorable to Rome? The Tawidah Church doesn't go back to Rome. Yes, it does, because it was a Orthodox Christian from the Bishop of Athanasius, which was an Orthodox Christian, which what will become the Orthodox Roman Church, that taught the Ethiopian church in 330. See, let me clear this up for the black people who always like to jump Ethiopia. In 325, the Roman emperor called for a meeting in Nicaea. The orthodoxy of Christianity was then established as the ruling group of Christians. One of the primary people from this group was Athanasius, a bishop out of Alexandria, Ethiopia. Well, about 5 years later, Frumentius goes down out of that very same church under that same very bishop and converts Ethiopia into Christianity. So the form of the Orthodox Christianity in Ethiopia was taught to them by the very same ones who created the Roman Orthodox Christianity. So yes, it comes from the Romans. The only difference is the canon for the Orthodox Roman Church hadn't been established. So Frumentius was allowed to teach him all the books. And so they created their own canon, because it would be another like 20, 30 years before canon was established. So Eastern Orthodox is Syrian. I swear, Bob, I'm gonna get to yours. But are you really this much of a knucklehead, Cap? Europeans not a single race either. Did I say that? Did you not hear nor understand what I said? Racial grouping, ethnicity under that. Beyond that, I'm done talking to you because you're stupid if you're gonna keep saying the same thing. That's just dumb. That's, comprehension is an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. Now, you're saying the Ethiopian Orthodox Church is Syrian. I could have swore it was not, but I'm willing to check to make sure. Mm-hmm. I know y'all typing. I can't see what y'all typing, but I'm just scanning something really quick. It don't seem to be. I don't see where it's Syrian. It don't seem to be Syrian. I don't see where it's a Syrian church. Hold on, let me see if anybody's provided any information. Damn, how far away was that? Eastern Orthodox is Syrian. You wouldn't have Christianity by Rome. That's true. It's not Eurocentric. Every letter of Paul, which is the overwhelming majority of the New Testament, is Eurocentric. It is designed to make the Romans not the villain, but not fully the protagonist, but definitely not the villain. I'm just trying to scroll through some of y'all comments real quick. I agree. There's no such thing as real Christianity. Okay, that's too far. It's too far. There's too many comments. Too many comments coming too fast. Oh my gosh, this cop dude is so caught up into racist. Here's a clue for you. Here's a clue for you, dude. No, they're not just different ethnicity, they're different race. Here's the first thing. There is no such thing as different races. If you want to actually be truthful about it, we have created the idea of different races, but there's actually no such thing as different races when it comes to human beings. There is only one race of human beings on the planet right now. That's it. Unless you want to be a racist and create a different race, but there's not. Right? And everything else is just an ethnicity, a nationality, a fucking community, a region, a tribe. It's just dumb. A person want to be caught up in that. Anyway, let me choose to give my attention to people who are more deserving of it. But I haven't seen where anyone has shown a church. Now, I guess I could put this in a little bit differently. Let me formulate the question a little differently. Because, oops, sorry. Because it's difficult when they try to give their own history. They always go, "Oh, Jesus established our church." No. But we need to find the actual history of the church from a non-apologetic source, because the apologetic source are going to because both churches, the Eastern Orthodox claim to be the original church and the true church. And there was a disagreement between the two churches. But I've never taken the time to really go through the history of the creation of the Eastern Orthodox Church. First period Jerusalem, centuries of common prominent. This doesn't really tell. This is not. There's not a lot of information on the actual. Well, what I'm finding right now, I'm gonna have to go to some PhD paperwork to find more of the history, because it seems like just a hodgepodge of what they have decided for themselves as to what their history is. Anytime somebody decides for themselves what their history is, it doesn't bode well. But there is absolutely nothing. The statement that the Eastern Orthodox Church is Syrian, no, the Eastern Orthodox Church seemed to mostly have revolved around Turkey and the events that are going on in Turkey. But that would have been under the Roman Empire at that time frame, which under Constantine. But all things prior to that just seems like a hodgepodge of people in and around Turkey claiming their own versions of Christianity in the same way. Oh, I forgot to put the invite out here for people to be able to come on here and have a conversation. Hey, Miss Fifi. Hey, this panel, and I am just like, oh my goodness, I'm glad I want to cuss something out.
Anyway, it's so nice to see you, and I'm glad that you're bringing up this subject about Christianity and the roots of Christianity. It reminds me of a film. It's on television. I love it. It's hardly any words in it, but it's about when the Vikings, I guess, came down, and they really were kind of destabilized in a way. Mm-hmm. And they were looking for, help to organize themselves again. And so Christianity, they were looking for the white God when the Vikings came down. They were looking for the white God. When they got to parts of Scotland and what's near Scotland?
Scotland, Ireland, England.
Yes, up in those areas. That's when they started fighting the Vikings because they were going to mislead the people. But it's all from European influence and the Vikings' influence, that they were looking for a white God.
Yeah,
I guess during that time, the Roman church the Romans, their influence was dwindling. So, hey, this is good for us.
But even under Rome was when Rome took over Christianity. They weren't going to, the people of Rome, the citizens of Rome, who honored the Greeks, were not going to worship a brown-skinned deity out of the Middle East who was a Jewish dude. Which is why everything from that time frame of after the Council of Nicaea, especially, when you see any imagery that was created back then, they all look like the Roman gods and goddesses. They look like Zeus, they look like Jupiter. Mary looks like, Venus, or Aphrodite. They're not going to make, so even from their own perspective, from the 4th century, they was already whitewashing the story. So, but people generally do that. That's a normal thing. I'm not saying that they're wrong, because that's what people normally do. You want your God to look like you,
right? Even though it says you shouldn't make an image of God.
Well, that the Romans changed that. If you look at the Catholic 10 Commandments and the Protestant 10 Commandments, you'll see that the Catholics got rid of that one. The graven images.
Yeah.
And that's what people do, though. They conform a religion to fit their culture. The Romans got rid of that 10th commandment, that commandment that says that have no false idols. And then when you get down to the bottom, they split the one about coveting. And so in order to maintain 10, because they already knew that they liked their idols, they liked their statues, they like all these different things. So they had to keep that included.
Yeah. They would do different things to make people think that these statues were holy and that they had healing powers.
They did, and they're still doing that to this day, trying to make people think that these statues can heal them and that there are saints and they need to come and pray to these saints. And like in my travels, when I would go to places like Rome, you can tell that the Romans had their love affair for statue building and for image creating and thinking that these were places of worship and special places. You can look through there by visiting today. You can just see all that history. You can see the timeline. And so when they became Christian, they weren't going to change that. Plus, it would have messed up their economy, but they weren't going to change that whole thing. And so they started creating ideas of this is a place of healing. Oh, we got the Shroud of Turin. That's a place of healing, even though that was way much later. but they started taking all their sacred places and started converting them into Christian healing places that were previously of some other deity.
That makes sense. That makes good sense.
Yeah, and I love how all the temples, like you go through every temple, every former temple gets converted over into a church.
Right.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
You're right.
And that's even when you that's what Helena did, Constantine's mother. She goes to Israel, modern day Israel, and she starts tearing down or reutilizing temples that was for Aphrodite, and this is where Jesus died on the cross. And we're gonna turn this into today. This is supposed to be the pool of Bethesda. Oh, we're gonna build a temple over it. So if there wasn't already a temple, they would build a temple. But in most cases, in a lot of cases where there was temples to other deities, because a place had a special meaning to it, they would just either convert that same one over or build or tear it down. And that's part of the supremacy mindset. That I can tear down your history, I can tear down your culture, I can demonize your culture and replace it with mine. But I digress.
Isn't that something? That's what they keep doing. Over and over again. People lost.
Oh, yeah.
What to believe now. Because they've been exposed.
Yep.
And now come the deconstruction. The truth.
And I love that so many people are walking away from these religions, realizing how fake they are.
Yeah, see how they manipulate so many behaviors, like misogyny. They promote that from the beginning. With the man in the garden and the woman in the garden and what they did and how they got thrown out. I mean, people's lives have been built upon that lie itself. That they, were born in sin and they're going to have to repent. I mean, it's crazy to me. There's a lot of good principles in the Bible. One of them I like is work out your own salvation. Are you familiar with that verse?
Not really.
I told to a preacher and he said that was not in the Bible.
Work out your own salvation?
I was like, what? I guess if you worked out your own salvation, you wouldn't need them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need it. Because your own salvation is yourself.
Right.
Yeah, but see, that doesn't fit into the I can guilt you and keep you caught into this religion and keep you under my control.
Yep. And it was control over women was the big thing. And it was a big thing in the movie that I was talking to, because they had the women with them, but they kept them as slaves, to do whatever they needed them to do.
Oh, this religion, and like most religions, you got to control the women. If you don't control the women, then you can't control the society. You can't control the community. You cannot control where your money it gets inherited towards. So you got to control women.
Okay, so that was the first thing they took care of.
Yeah, from the very beginning, we're gonna control these women now. Damn. Can't have y'all out here wearing pants and stuff and thinking y'all are grown. Thinking y'all can follow y'all sexuality or get married out of love or you get picked.
Yeah, you can see the white supremacy and the misogyny and them thinking that they're more superior than the culture before them. Instead of them going to build their own temples, they tear down other people's temples. Now, I'm not saying that whoever they were worshiping, the goddess or whatever temple, was doing and what they believed and what they were trying to accomplish with that, but I don't know, tearing down someone's beliefs just like that and replacing them, it has to be a lot of unstable. The society has to be unstable for that to happen.
Well, I mean, if you're ruling like the Romans were ruling, you are the Jewish people in Judea were basically in the same way when you got an occupying army living in there, like when the Germans were in France. The French people had a little bit of freedom to walk around and do a little bit of things, but the Romans really could do whatever they wanted to do. The people it was Jim Crow law. It was kind of Jim Crowish, that to make it more closer to home. It was more Jim Crow-like situation. So when they got ready to tear something down, the Jewish people really couldn't do that. Now, they didn't care about tearing down an old Roman temple, which is what she did that was on top of Calvary. Calvary was tearing down an old Roman temple, so they didn't care about that. The other Romans would have cared about it, but this is the emperor's mom, so they ain't gonna say nothing to her, because she the emperor's mom. So now it's the whole politic thing, kind of like the president can get away with saying something that a television announcer cannot get away with saying. So, Helena can get away with doing something that if like a Roman senator tried to do it, he probably would have got ousted and booed and killed or something. So it's a different political power that allowed that as well.
Okay.
It's a whole lot of even though I just picked white supremacy, because I'm just talking about, I was just going with Christianity. The religion, the Abrahamic religions within themselves is a religion of total supremacy. Oh, thank you for the galaxy. Somebody just gave me a galaxy. That's the first time I ever received one of those, so I appreciate that. Thank you, Jameen. But yeah, so it's the whole religion is it's trying to have supremacy over women. It's trying to have supremacy of white supremacy as the Romans took over Christianity. It has the Jewish supremacy where the Israelites are the most divine and supreme beings, we're humans. And then even within this own teaching, then this Yahweh God, which acknowledges that there are multiple gods, he has a supremacy issue that he want to have over all the other gods. It's truly the book of Marduk is the way it sounds. But this entire Abrahamic religion is about supremacy. In any sense of the word, any kind of supremacy you want to name, it got it. And it all stems with this God itself. So it's understandable how it became appealing to whomever was in control. I'm sure that if West Africa had developed into a political military powerhouse in the 1300s and then went about colonizing the world and found Christianity, it probably would have picked up Christianity as well and said, we can control everybody with this damn religion. And we'd be walking around talking about, is Christianity a form of black supremacy? Right? I mean, because it's simply just that. If you strip away all the other titles and just say what is the primary use of this book? It is to dominate and control people. Yep. But I appreciate you being up here, Miss Fifi.
Well, thank you for bringing me up, as always.
All right.
I learn a little something every now and then.
I'm glad.
So thank you for the information. You have a good evening.
You
I'll
too.
be listening.
Thank you. Thank you. So you guys are more than welcome to come up onto the stage, add to the conversation, whether you agree or disagree. I got my first Galaxy old TikTok. I appreciate that, Jay. I never got a Galaxy before, and then I got a heart. Join the fan club. Thank you. I know you guys had some other comments or questions while I was conversing with Miss Fifi. May not have caught everything that you guys were saying. I do have the ability to multitask. Steve said Islam is a religion that seeks to dominate and control humanity. Islam is one of the Abrahamic religions. So just like all the Abrahamic religions, they want to dominate and control humanity. The biggest difference with Christianity is that Christianity purposely tries to evangelize the people. You don't see Muslims and Jews out here trying to evangelize the people, but Christians are the ones who are out here trying to evangelize to you. So they're taking a more active role in trying to dominate the world. I had to send you the only brother who shares my views with the same hat that I have. All right. You know what's funny, Jay? I wasn't sure. I was going between two different hats to wear today, and I was like, my gut's telling me this one. So that's funny, but I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah. Muslims do want you to submit or die, but that is no different to me than Christians saying that either you submit to Christianity or you're going to hell. Yeah, you may not lose your life right now, but let me torment you with the mental aspects of you going to hell and constantly telling you this bullshit for the next 30 years of your life, so I can let you have a little taste of hell right now. Thank you for the fluffy pink hearts, Miss Fifi. But there's no trying to compare. I know people like to compare. Oh, which evil is the worst evil? Does it matter if it's all evil? Does it really matter? From the very moment of this book, from the very inception and ideas of this God, first, this God wants you to worship him over all the other gods. And if you worship any other God than him, then you are going to hell. Think about this. Somebody asked me yesterday on one of my videos, they questioned and said, do you believe in justice? In my video that I made about why I don't believe in hell. No, YT mean white people. I don't know why it means that. I mean, it means YouTube as well, but I don't know why people use YT for white people. It's just a common thing. So, but if I put that on YouTube, it gets highlighted, banned, or whatever. So anyway, point is, made me lose my damn point. From the very beginning, this God, somebody had asked me about justice, right? Do you believe in justice? Because I said there's no such thing as hell. They were inferring the fact that hell is just justice, God's justice. Justice is defined as punishment that is befitting of the crime, meaning that you don't give the same punishment to a person who stole a pack of gum from a convenience store to a person who murdered somebody. That would not be justice. Justice is a punishment befitting of the crime. So you have a person who mass murders, person who rapes, person who steals, kills, a person who burns down buildings with people in it. all those people convert to Christianity. They go to jail, maybe, maybe not. But towards the end of their life, they convert to Christianity. But they still got all this red in their ledger. On the other hand, you got a mother, you got a father, you got an uncle, you got a grandfather, you got a child, you got a teenager. They feed the homeless, give to the poor. They are kind to people. They have consideration for other people. In everything they do, they consider what would be the effects towards other people. If it's a negative effect, I won't do it. But they don't believe in this God. But that is their moral life. Well, according to this book, all those mass murderers get to go to heaven. Those people who didn't mass murder, they go to hell. That's not justice. And let's say the people who did the mass murdering don't believe in this God either. Now the people who are in hell are both the mass murderer and the person who dedicated their lives to feeding the homeless. And the only similarity that they share is that they do not believe in the God of the Bible. That is not justice. That's not justice at all. In no way, shape, or form. What do you make of the name El Elyon and Yahweh? El Elyon is most high for the Canaanite gods in the Canaanite pantheon. Yahweh is the Hebrew God that they created when they separated from the Canaanites and then later merged Yahweh with El Elyon. That's a simple way of putting it. That's my simplest way of throwing it out there, since it's not part of the subject matter. And I just wanted to go ahead and give you a quick answer. But that's not justice. That shows from the very onset of this belief system that this God is a God of supremacy, that I'm not a God of justice. I have an ultimatum. You worship me, whether you ever heard of me or not, whether your family ever heard of me, whether it came to you by the sword, it came to you by whips and chains, it came to you by slavery, it came to you by economic oppression, whether it came to you because the Romans went and after they were Christian, they came and they conquered and they forced you into it, or later on when the Britons forced and the Scottish and the Vikings and the Irish into it, when the Ethiopian King Azana forced his people into it. Doesn't matter how you became it, long as you became it. Didn't matter how many of your people I had to have killed in order to get the Native Americans to become Christians. No matter how much economics I had to force, bad economics had to be forced on you, as long as you became it. It doesn't matter about manifest destiny. Yeah. They used my name in vain, but it got the job done. That's all a Christian cares about. Oh, it's terrible that manifest destiny wiped out so many native populations, but without manifest destiny, the native population would not have been heard the good news of Jesus. That's not a good God. It's not a loving God. That's a God who believes in supremacy. The fact that he gives an ultimatum of such is a God of supremacy. So it is no wonder that the rest of his teachings throughout the whole book is about supremacy. It's all about supremacy at the end of the day. Jay said that he used to street preach. I used to street preach. My buddy literally told someone, "Thank God for slavery." True story. I do not doubt it. I've heard that so many times. Even when I was a Christian myself, I used to hear pastors say, "Thank God for slavery," but that bothered the shit out of me. Though I couldn't do it. Even as a kid, I abhorred slavery. But I've heard it, but I didn't fight against it. And people will make up any excuse to ignore it. especially, and this is the thing that kills me. The greatest number of people who make the biggest excuses for this God are the most oppressed people, right? The most oppressed people. I will get more fight from Black Americans, from Nigerians. I will get more fight from, you know, a Spanish Catholic or a Hispanic Catholic. Like, I get more fight from them than I get from a European or American white person. I do not get, it amazes me that the people who are being the most oppressed by this religion are the ones who fight the hardest for it. And this is one of my theories. This is one of my thoughts on it. The reason why they fight so hard is because their life sucks. Their life is shit. And the only hope that they have is this Bible. They have been convinced that their only hope is heaven, or if they're going to get out of their current situation, that only Jesus can do it. And I get more fight from them. And that's why I say I get more fight from them. And then, of course, I think some of the other fighters, they feel betrayed. They feel betrayed. No, not one of us. How can a black man not believe in Jesus? Especially if, I don't know where everybody is at, but in America, if you black and you ain't Christian, well, something must be wrong with you. You must done did bump your head if you black and you ain't Christian. I had a dude the other day. Matter of fact, it was about 2 weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago. This other black man said something about some Jesus stuff. I said, I don't believe in that. And he just looked stunned for a minute, just looked at me. And then he was like, how can you not? I said, because I don't, because it's all false. It's all it's fake stuff. But how could you not? He didn't question the material or nothing. And he just kept looking. And he was like, this just don't make, older black man. And he was just looking at me funny. This just don't make sense. And he said that part. He said, this just don't make sense. How can you not believe in Jesus? Basically what he was saying, how can you as a black American not believe in Jesus? That's right. Massa gonna get you. Miss Fifi said that on TikTok. Because that is Christianity is so embedded into white people's mind. I mean, black people's mindset, the oppressed people's mindset, that to them, another one of us, somebody who looks like them, and they don't believe the same, they don't believe in that, something's wrong with that person. Something wrong with that person. I tell a white person I don't believe in Jesus, they're like, they you know, let's say they Christian, and a white person find out, they start asking questions. Oh, why not? Oh, what did you? So you studied? And what did you study? Start asking questions like that. Tell another black person, what? Betrayal. How dare you? But this is why I love the fact that we are learning and we are growing and we are walking away from this religion, because there is a lot of us. There's a lot of us who have walked away, and there's a lot more who are walking away faster and faster and faster. This is why James can't say nothing but you are dumb and you are stupid. And most of his comments don't make sense. Black Al. Let me make sure I got the volume up because I was messing with this the other day. Al, you there? I don't think Al is here. Al, you're on the stage. Try it again, bro. Try it again. Try it again. All right. What's up, Al?
What's up?
What you got for me?
Hey, you follow me on Facebook, don't you?
I don't know.
Yeah, Jacob Merrill is actually my actual government name, commonly known as Black L. You'll see my Facebook page. I just started making my videos.
Wait a minute. Let me write
Yes,
that down.
sir.
As you know, I said I would. You don't get your shit done. I was gonna talk
Yep,
shit.
sure did. And I talk about a whole bunch of shit on there too. I talk about science and educational shit, history.
What's the name of the page?
Yep.
What's the name of the
Jacob
page?
Merrill. My profile, Jacob Merrill. You'll see my Black L nickname up there too.
How you spell Merrill?
Merrill.
Okay, I thought so. I ain't want to make it wrong. All right.
Yep. I talked to that fool Kevin too. You know who I'm talking about?
Who? Kevin Wesley?
Yep.
That's my guy. Actually, I need to call him. I got a question.
Yeah. He was shocked as hell that I was a member of your channel.
Why would he be shocked?
Well, because I quote your famous quote. Always remember, you got to be yourself to free yourself. Yep, because your greatness is non-negotiable.
Oh, okay.
I ended our video with that, and his eyes got wide as hell. He was like, "That's Coach Reed's. That's his say." I was like, "Yep." Yep.
Yeah, that Joker. Yeah, I got contact him.
Yep.
So, what do you think about
I
the
told him, I
subject?
said, I've been. Oh, the subject matter about
Yeah.
is Christianity white supremacy? Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it. Oh yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it.
Why do you say that?
Well, the history shows it. Like if they had to, spread their belief and their religion through mass genocide, and all that, and they didn't, come peacefully, like they said they claimed to come peacefully and spreading the good news of the gospel, and later turn out they using it to enslave us, not just us, but other nationalities, groups of people, and yeah. So, and the fact that what's that? God condones slavery, or he don't condone slavery?
No, he condones
Yeah,
it.
yeah, he condones it. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And nah, I can't get down with that. And that's all. That's white nationalism, white privilege, white supremacy. Yep, it all went hand in hand.
Okay.
Our Constitution is built around white supremacy and things of that nature. Because I was telling somebody this actually on my page last week that we didn't have a hand in that. You know, African black African slaves didn't have a hand in the Constitution when the Constitution was being established. On this land or in this land, and the genociding of the Native Indians. That took place while the Constitution was being established. So the Constitution is an all white, male establishment, and our ancestors that was brought over here, we didn't have a hand in that. So I was telling somebody that, if I was born anywhere in the 1800s, you know, where all the rest of the black, famous people like, Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass and quite a few others. And I would have been like, if Abraham Lincoln, around the 1860s when he became president and he went to war with the South, what's it called? Emancipation Proclamation, I think it's called. Yeah, yep. And when he did that and established that, I would have got with the president, and I would have been like, again, if I was a free slave, I would have got with the president. I would have been like, look, hey, Mr. President Lincoln, I appreciate getting me off the plantation, but I need you to show me how to get back across that damn water, because this ain't this not my home. This ain't where I belong. And I'm taking I'm taking some other slave members with me.
Well,
So,
that did happen.
Did happen?
Yeah, Liberia.
Okay.
Liberia was established as a post-Civil War free state for American slaves, right? It was still ran as a puppet regime by the United States. And I think it was Monroe who did it. But that's why you see, like, because that's why the capital is Monrovia and shit like that. But they were still like hell. They were still treated. It was a free state for slaves, but it was still wasn't given an opportunity to truly build itself into a nation, still governed by America in a sense. Yeah. Up until, and then once America kind of let their hands off of it, they left it in turmoil, which created a whole situation in the 89 and 90, where I went and participated in the evacuation of non-combatants in Liberia. So, it was done. A lot of black people went, but a lot didn't. A lot also came out west.
And that I never understood that, because I'm like, if I was, again, I probably you probably would have been reading about me in the history books if I was born back then, because I would have got like at least about 1,000 of them niggas. I mean, excuse my language, and I would have went back to Africa. And see, now again, I keep telling people, it's not so much that the white folks, came to Africa, the Europeans or the British, and came and and just snatched us up. Our own people was selling us into slavery. So, and the way I feel about it, Coach, you might have mixed feelings about it, but man, I would have went back, and if the people who had sold us into slavery was still around during the 1800s, because I was doing some research and I was doing some calculation, of the years and stuff, and how far in between our ancestors, was over here, doing slave work. So our ancestors went into slavery 1619, correct? So between then,
wait.
Yeah.
In North America, 1619. I had already been dealing with Caribbean and South American slavery and European slavery, because a lot of slave ships went to Europe. Some slave ships went to Europe. Most of them were going to the Caribbean and going into Central and South America. Prior to 1619.
Okay, and the number that they had up there was over about 12.5 million. So I'm like, that's worldwide though too. So, okay. All right. So between then and up until the 1800s is when slavery was beginning to be abolished. So 1834, the British abolished, slavery, I think, worldwide.
No,
or was it just for their problems? Okay, and America, they tried to say like they abolished slavery in 1808, but never really happened. But
that was the abolishment of the transatlantic slave trade.
The abolishment. Okay,
you couldn't ship slaves across the Atlantic anymore.
Okay. So they did do that.
Yeah, into America. mean, there was still some.
Okay.
So then you just create the underground version of it. You create smuggling and that sort of thing. That still happens.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And that's
Okay,
when
because I was saying, yeah, because what I was saying, I was like, anywhere in the 1800s. So, like, either if I was a slave or if I wasn't a slave. And see, a lot of our black folks don't know that either, that every black person that was in this land, on this land, wasn't a slave. So, and
depends on what
yeah,
time.
so yeah, exactly, depending on what time. Yeah. And so I
Overwhelming
was telling him,
majority
I
was
was
still slaves, though.
right, the overwhelming majority
So
was. Exactly.
what's your point? When I went 50
My
miles,
point is, I would have went back to Africa and beat the ever living hell out of them people who sold my people into slavery. That's the way I feel about it, because it's not really so much of the white folks' fault. We were sold to them. Our ancestors were sold to them. Them white folks didn't come over there just looking for us just as slave work. We were sold to them. You see what I'm saying? By our own people. That's the way
okay,
I feel about it. And I would have went back and got in they shit, took over Africa, some part of Africa, okay, and made a trade deal. Because see, really, that's what the Europeans came over there for, was a trade deal. We was
okay.
buying up their merchandises and stuff and all that.
I'm gonna stop you. I will stop you for two reasons.
Why is that?
And let me pull the microphone back to me to make sure that you can hear me clearly.
I hear you loud and clear.
One, you are speaking from your feelings of a modern mind knowing the history.
I am. Yeah.
When you're speaking from your feelings of a modern mind knowing the history, saying what you would have done back then, just like I would say to somebody who is using testimony, fuck your feelings.
Fuck your feelings.
Have
I
no
understand that.
idea if you were born then without the knowledge that you have now, you have no freaking idea what you would do. We like to think
that's true. But here's the kicker. Coach, listen, here's the kicker. I said if I had knew anything about our history in the 1800s, if I was born anywhere in the 1800s and I knew about our history, what happened to my people?
We'd all be drunk.
You're right about that.
It's a great mental exercise to do. I mean, I don't lie. I can't lie that I have not imagined going back in time at a certain time frame with a battalion of Marines and just fucking shit up and changing stuff. Great.
Exactly.
I do recognize if I was born at that time frame, there's no telling what type of person I would have become.
That's true.
You don't know. You don't.
But
you just now hold on, because I said it was two things. I said it was two. The second part is that you're half right, half wrong. Yes, there were African tribes who were selling slaves, but they were selling slaves based on a mentality that they already had. So, like for instance, the Dahomey were at war against the Vayuda kingdom. So you got the Dahomey kingdom at war against the Vayuda kingdom. They meet these Portuguese. These Portuguese got this technology that they ain't never seen before. It's called guns. This will help us run a war. And when we go and we capture these other people, these our enemy. Because understand, this is where the guy cop who was on here earlier, the Africans didn't see themselves all as black. They was like, I'm Dahomey, you Vayuda. Y'all the enemy. So selling them into slavery wasn't we're selling our people because they're not our people.
Okay, you got a point. Yeah, that makes sense.
So it wasn't seen in the same way. And so yes. So when we talk about some of the African kingdoms who sold slaves, they were selling their enemies. They weren't selling their brothers. They weren't selling their people. So that's different. Now the other part, which makes yours wrong, is that is that Pope Nicholas V wrote a papal bull saying that it is the European Christian duty to go into West Africa and to enslave those people and force them into Christianity and enslave them as property.
Oh,
So
that's right. I
they
did
so
overlook
it
that.
was
Yeah.
so and that was so that's without provocation of, oh, there are people down there selling some of their enemies. I mean, because
Hmm.
everybody sold their enemies. When Julius
Exactly.
Caesar
Yeah.
conquered the Britons, he was like, these motherfuckers ain't good for nothing but the Colosseum and slavery. He wasn't
Mm.
saying that, and Romans were very much like, if your ass ain't Italian, yeah, or Roman citizen, you ain't shit.
Hmm.
That's
Right.
how people mindsets
Oh
work.
yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, whites. Yeah, even in Europe at the time, yeah, they felt about that. They felt the same way about their own. Okay. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, the Anglicans felt the same way about the Scottish and the Irish. They was like their
Yep.
dog,
Show did.
is how
Show
they
did.
felt about them. It wasn't until Nicholas V created race that then changed,
Hmm.
start changing some of the European mindset to say that, okay,
I thought that was Portuguese who created the whole race ideology.
no, it was the Pope Nicholas.
Okay, so that was Pope Nicholas. Okay,
Yeah,
I
Pope
thought that
Nicholas
was
created that
Portuguese.
bullshit. And
Okay.
then when he created it, it started making people say, okay, the Irish, y'all are, you still kind of, you're a better breed of dog. You're still a dog, but you're a better breed of dog. You better than
Hmm.
the little black person. They are, that's a rat. So, and then over time, as different societies, they start to say to themselves, well, we got a bigger common enemy. There's more colored people on this planet than there are non-colored people, so we got to make all y'all the
Yep.
same. We got to make y'all fight
Yep.
against all of them. And then the lighter the skin, the better. Okay, we're gonna create these caste systems based on lightness
Yep.
of skin and darkness of skin, and we still see that today. So,
Okay. Okay.
but yeah,
But
but one more thing, and then I'm gonna let somebody else get up here.
go ahead.
I don't know. You about to say something, so I was trying to let you have your
Oh
last word.
no, what I was saying is the whole beauty of it though is that even though I'm born in this time period, I was born like in modern today, I have a different mindset than if I was born in the 1800s. Who knows what mindset I would have had back then, That's the whole beauty of it, because me thinking of that today, who knows, like if I actually would have actually done that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, you would have been reading about me in the history books if I had actually attempted it. Trust
We
me.
don't know. If you would have attempted it, yes, but you don't know what you would have done. Bye.
Exactly. All right,
Appreciate
bye.
it. I like Al. Hold on, Dollar. Well, hold on, Dollar. You're next. And then Ludo Moore. I thought there was another guest on TikTok, but he went, oh shit. Dollar, my bad. I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong damn button, Dollar. Let me post the link again. God dang it. I hit the wrong button on you, Dollar. I ain't mean to hit that one. I was looking to my left when I should have been looking to my right. Dollar Will.
Hey, what's happening, brother?
Hey,
Yeah, I kick a little bit with the brother that just left, because I mean, I love your channel. I've been watching you for years. I mean, you really putting it down. but as young brother, I just want to say we got to be very careful with using our exclusively using our imagination and intuition. This slavery thing is highly complex, and fortunately we live in the information age, and we can find out things by asking the right questions. So for that young brother, I want you to write down or at Google, when did Christianity enter West Africa? Portuguese bought it. They tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and write down the date. It's very important when you're doing, get like one document file, Word file or whatever, and as you Google things over the years and decades, assign a date to it and put the dates in order, and the story will write itself. Okay, so the Portuguese bought Christianity, then Google when did Islam come to into West Africa, and write the date. If I say to you 1992, Christians sailed the ocean, you already know. They put that little rhyme in our head. So you got that date, and you'll see that Africa had already been exposed to these Abrahamic religions. West Africa, where we're from, had already been exposed to this stuff before we got there. I mean, before Columbus got there. And then Google, do some research on what was the impact on the introduction of those Abrahamic religions on the ethnic groups, and you will learn that it was highly divisive. Everybody didn't automatically follow the king when he converted, so it split the kingdoms. It was fights within families, and like any other groups of people, you have enemies and you have wars, and so that became another thing to fight about. So when people say we sold us into slavery, I counter it. I say no. Christianized Africans and Islamicized Africans sold us into slavery. I mean, it's a lot. And I know even that's an oversimplification, but I'm a battery. I'm gonna throw a little ignorance out there with it. If we're gonna be making these sweeping generalizations. And also the slavery thing. It's not one slavery, it's slaveries. Chattel slavery is the one we're familiar with, and we make the mistake of projecting that as the model of slavery. And I love how you told the brother that basically they didn't have prisons then. So slavery was a way the way you punish somebody, and slavery wasn't forever. And we need to have a healthy debate about was that superior or inferior to how we treat people in prison today.
Let's go over a couple of things that you were saying. So I agree with what you were saying at first, until you said it was Christianized Africans that were selling slaves.
I'm saying slavery and Christianity and Islam was already in the region, and it was already subject of this conflict, fuel for conflict, among other historic reasons why the ethnic groups would fight each other.
What do you think the one that I happen to mention was the Dahomey versus the Wayuta tribe?
Yes,
because that's where a lot of the initial slaves, a lot of slaves ended up coming from that region.
Yes.
Now, of course, you had the first issue was the Canary Islands, and then you move down to the Azores, where you have the Canary Islands and the Azores, and then into Sierra Leone and Mali, which those were the Mali especially were Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
But as they moved around the bend and get into the Ivory Coast, Ghana, Benin, and Benin is actually the Dahomey, mm-hmm. They weren't Christian nor Muslim. They were still they practiced their African spiritualities.
Right. That's why I said, even when I said Christianizing Islam, I know that that's a gross simplification. When I did it, I was just basically being as ignorant as the people that say we sold us into slavery. So I can basically have a point to build up to a bigger discussion to show the danger of oversimplification, oversimplifying a complex issue.
But now, okay, I got you. And yes, it is an incredibly complex issue. And one of the biggest problems is people will pick one point of view to come from.
Correct.
And then make everything about that.
Correct. And here's another thing I'm gonna challenge people to us Black Americans in particular. We immediately take the victim role and say they sold us. There is no they or us. We are all of them. We come from all of them, and you're talking about ethnic groups that had thousands of years of war and conflict, and we're gonna sit up here and say which side started it. And some of the selling was retribution for selling, for their people being sold. And then we also have records to show that some of the people doing the capturing and selling into slavery were themselves caught and sold. So we were all on the slave ship, the sellers, the resellers, and we all got dispersed over here. So, but we're going to take the victim role and say they sold us. No, we sold us.
Yeah.
We sold us. And the final point, because I don't want to hog it, I know you want to get people through. We got to stop this mess of screwing up the timeline of historical events. When that transatlantic slavery started, chattel slavery had not been invented yet. Chattel slavery evolved over time. Once we got here, they start making the rules about this gonna be forever, and you're not a human, and all. It evolved. So nobody had a master plan at ground one to say that this was a new form of slavery, and everybody was aware that this is not the type of slavery that the world had known up until that point. Nobody knew everything all at once.
I understand what you're saying, even though you oversimplified that.
How?
Okay. Chattel slavery has been around for eons, for thousands of years.
When before this?
The Romans had chattel slavery, where you own a person as property until they died, and you can pass them down as inheritance.
And you own their offsprings too?
Yeah, you own their offspring and you can sell their babies.
Okay.
So, and this is before they even converted over to Christianity.
And let me ask you this. Okay. I'm not going to debate that point with you, but I'm going to ask you this. When was that the template for slavery generally in the world prior to transatlantic slavery?
Depending on what part of the world we're talking about. If we're talking about that Mediterranean world, yeah, it was their template. Was it the template for South Asia and Asian countries? Not as much.
So let me say it this way.
In the Americas, it wasn't as like the Americas beforehand. It depends upon what area that you're looking at, but you had different tribes who had that form of chattel slavery. You had tribes that didn't have it.
Let me ask you this. In West Africa, was chattel slavery common prior to transatlantic slavery?
From what I could find, most African tribes didn't have that form of chattel slavery.
Okay. So I'll accept your correction and limit my comment to West Africa. Would you have an objection if I said that was not commonly known or practiced in West Africa? It wouldn't have been something that they would have necessarily assumed that's what that the consequences of us being enslaved would be something different from what they had already been experiencing.
Yes, we can agree on that.
Okay, so I'm saying, so when we in 2025 say they sold us into slavery, I already addressed the they and us thing. We have to understand that we have no basis to think that they thought that we would be coming into what we became, what came to be.
Exactly. And like I gotta find what tribe it was, but there was one African nation that was like, they were fine selling the slaves, but then once they found out what was actually happening, then they said, hell no, we ain't gonna sell you no slaves like that anymore.
Right.
And then shit, I gotta find which tribe it was. And then the European nation was like, well, fuck it, we just gonna take all y'all in.
Right. And we need to understand, one, they still have historians in Africa. And so whenever we talk about this, we need to use Google and YouTube and try to find continental African historians, and so we can understand the way they tell the history. We know it from this side, because when you look at it from their side, they're going to add some nuances to this that we need to know to put more meat on the bone to flesh this out. Because like we're saying, it's a highly complex thing.
Yeah, it is. It's very complex, though. I'm with you on that one.
But thank you, brother, for letting me get on.
No, my pleasure. I appreciate what you brought to the stage.
All right, peace.
Peace. All right. as a reminder, I go one person at a time, and I try to go in the order by which the persons sent their request. So patience is a virtue.
Hey, what's up, Coach Renz?
What up, Lo? How you doing?
I'm all right. I just got finished working and just tuned in and see what you're talking about.
Yeah, you've been waiting long enough. You should know what we're talking about.
Right, yeah. So I see it said Christianity white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, and y'all probably went over this already, but I would say that it became a tool of white supremacy. That wasn't the original. That wasn't the original thrust of it, you know. But the core issue is that Judaism is a supremacist religion.
Yeah. Now I went all the way back to that where I did talk about the fact that the God himself shows a supremacy behavior, and then Judaism, all the Abrahamic, is a supremacy religion from front to back throughout this whole thing. And yes, I agree with somebody had made a comment saying exactly what you're saying earlier, and I agree. It became white supremacy as white supremacy developed into what it is. But even though there was no such thing as race at the time frame that the Romans took over Christianity, the Romans did demonstrate one of the earliest forms of white supremacy. And even though, yeah, go ahead.
I can believe that because I do see some racism, you know, based on color and all that stuff. Like, you know, you have some of the elites were kind of the lighter skinned people because the people that were out working in the fields became darker, and it was almost like it's almost like a badge of honor, you know, to not have dark skin, and that kind of did start kind of early. So I don't know how deep that was in the Roman nation and all that stuff, but yeah. But like I said, you know, Judaism itself, though, supremacist. So once people grasp on to them being as Christianity spread through Europe, and that's where it really thrived at. As that spread through Europe, and you get like this identity that we are the God's true people, then they started to kind of correlate, you know, the way they looked and everything. Because there you got a white Jesus and all this stuff, and so now it's like it's all wrapped in together. You know, the way they see themselves, the way they see God. You know what I'm saying? They see him as a white man. They see him, you know, and the Bible says we are the chosen people. And when you read the scripture, the chosen people are better than all the other nations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. And the chosen people, and it's their right to destroy the other people and to enslave the other people. And you are right about there was a caste system that developed, and it wasn't elitism, where if a person worked outside and their skin becomes darker, then that meant that they were of a lower caste. And that was a general mindset that multiple people throughout the Mediterranean developed. And so the Romans did have that, but their main thing was about citizenship. If you were born as a Roman citizen, right?
Okay.
That was your first level of I'm better than everybody else. And the overwhelming majority of those people would have been from that Italian peninsula, which, you know, they were of lighter skin. So they had that supremacy mentality over everybody else. Even the fairer skinned Europeans, they still thought that they were better than them because you were a Roman citizen.
Correct.
You know, and they thought
that's kind of nationalism is kind of common, though. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, our people are better than your people. That's kind of common throughout all regions of humanity, really. When you break it, you know, when you break it down, even on a tribal, sometimes even on a tribal level, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's always that way. Like if you was born from the chief, then you inherited in their minds, the leadership, the ability to think on a complex level. One of my favorite scenes from the show Spartacus. I don't know if y'all seen Spartacus, but I love Spartacus. Watch it annually.
I never watched it all the way through. Never did.
Bruh, oh my gosh. But when Batiardus wanted to become a politician, you know, the magistrate, he indulges him for a little bit, but then finally just tells him that, you know, leave the matter of politics to the ones with the breeding, with the proper breeding. And basically is telling him that since you were born into a Lanista family, then that's all you should be. You can't be a politician because you weren't born into a political family. And so it's like they had a mentality of gatekeeping. This is a worldwide mentality. You have a gatekeeping mentality of people can only be as good as what their ancestors were.
Yeah.
Right. So man has developed these kinds of stupid bullshit.
Yeah. I kind of at the point where I'm at right now. I'm not a racialist or anything like that. I'm not really into race that much. I understand that I am black and I'm gonna have certain issues dealing with people, but I never really grasped the whole idea of like we did this because, you know, some ancestor 3,000 years ago did something and you take some type of pride and credit for it. I mean, you didn't do it though. So me, I'm like, man, if you're gonna take the good stuff, you gotta take the bad stuff they did too. So I'm like, I look at it as all as one. I look at it as one human species, me. You know, I understand we got different, you know, races and everything, but you know, I just look at it like, man, I just happen to be born black.
Yeah,
you know, it's just
you just happen to be born from a group of people from a certain part of the world whose bodies are developed a certain way because of their environment.
Correct.
That's it.
Correct.
But you're still a damn human.
Right. Now, I just want to say one more thing just about the Christianity being, whether it's white supremacy. Like I said, it didn't start off like that. And especially in the early church, you had a lot of diversity, really, in that region of the people that even were in high places. You had people in the from, you know, in Egypt, and you had like Athanasius was an African. He was African. I think Augustine was African. If I'm not mistaken.
They were African, but they were Roman though. They still had Roman heritage. They just happened to be born in Egypt, but they weren't hereditarily Egyptian. You understand what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but are you sure about that? You sure it wasn't none of that there? It wasn't,
yeah, I'm 100% sure.
Romanized Africans? They weren't Romanized Africans?
No, they were Hellenistic. They were like Romans. You gotta understand, Egypt, and especially Alexandria, Egypt, was like one of the most profitable places to live. Like that was the Atlanta of the Roman Empire. So it was a place where a lot of Romans moved to once they conquered it from the Greeks. And mind you, there was already a lot of Greeks there. So they moved there to like, hey, I'm gonna go here because that's Atlanta, man. I can go make some money there. So many families moved there. So you got families from all over the Roman Empire living there.
So Egypt is very cosmopolitan, basically.
Oh yeah, especially Alex.
Kind of always been. I mean, for a long period of time, it's been like that. You know, that's why when people say everybody there is black, everybody there is this, that, and other, I'd be like, that's not necessarily true. You have different mixes there, and people have been mixing for forever. And you know, this whole idea that is one group of people. I mean, the genetics show that shit ain't true.
Yes. If you want to make Egypt darker, you got to go further back in history. You got to go before the Romans, before the Greeks conquered it. And then to make it darker, you got to go before they started. You know, then but even before they conquered it, there was still a lot of trade that was going on between the Greeks and the Egyptians. And so you had people living there who was of a Greek heredity. So you got to go way back to like the 1500s and beyond to get a darker version of Egypt.
Right.
And then and if you want a real dark version of Egypt, you got to go into like 2500 BCE to get a dark version of Egypt, because it was any place on the Mediterranean was getting mixtures of people. You just had Alexandria. Egypt was just one of the biggest places because the mouth of the Nile River was there, as well as getting to the Red Sea, which then gets you around to down to Yemen and Oman and around the Saudi Arabian Peninsula into India, because spices was like gold, especially salt. Salt was like the real gold mine back in the day. So it's like my man was saying earlier, like Will was saying, it's incredibly complicated that people oversimplify all the time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah,
I'm on point with that. But I hope, like I said, with Christianity, with the white supremacy, you know, it's definitely been, you know, used very, you know, very disastrously, you know, with especially when it came to spreading Christianity to the you know, overseas, over here, basically in the Americas.
Yeah,
it was you know.
Well, as soon as the Romans took it over, it became a form of white supremacy.
Right.
And so from 325 till today, it's been a form of white supremacy. But I got about 4 other people waiting.
Thanks, move me up in the line.
No, I appreciate you.
I appreciate it.
Later. Just a reminder, y'all know I do one at a time. I try to keep it in the order that I saw people.
Hi, am I on, sir?
Yep.
Hi. I definitely think that Christianity is white supremacy. I think it used to be Jewish supremacy back in the old days, Old Testament days. I'll be for whoever blesses you, I will bless. Whoever curses you, I will curse. The Abraham days, that was God talking directly about Israel. And Jesus said something about how it's not good to take from the Jews and give to the dogs or something like that. That was that racist comment he made towards that woman. It was Jewish supremacy. But by the time Paul came, he switched it up. He said that since the Jews rejected Jesus, everybody teaches this in church. He said since the Jews rejected Jesus, God took the kingdom from them. Remember that teaching, and gave it to the Gentiles.
Yep.
To spread the word. So I think it's definitely from that point on the New Testament, since he made the Greek version of Christianity, I think it's been white supremacy ever since then up till today. It's still white supremacy.
Yeah, I agree. I can agree with all of that.
It's 100% white supremacy.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah, even though it wouldn't have been coined as such at the time. It still fits the criteria that we have today.
It sure does, sir.
White supremacy would be. So I agree with you 100% on that one.
Supremacy.
And that's what many people don't want to realize, that the teachings of Paul were geared towards the Greeks, which is the Romans of that day.
Exactly. I don't see how they can ignore that. He specifically said that he was called to preach to bring the good news to the Gentiles. Like, come on, people. How much more obvious can he be? And he's taking the Jewish stories and bringing it to white people. He's credited with doing that.
And it should be acknowledged. It should be easily acknowledged by the fact that the overwhelming majority of the New Testament is written by Paul and followers of Paul.
I was going to say that too.
And then you got
4 books written by Jewish people, and the rest of them written by Paul. If you could say the 4 books were written, just assuming that they were really written by the disciples, which they weren't.
Actually, you can only say
existed.
Actually, you can only say 3.
Yeah, that's true, because one of them was a forgery or something.
Well,
which one was it? It was written after Matthew or something, but it came. Matthew wasn't the first book written or something like that. I forgot.
So Mark is supposedly a Jewish author.
Yeah.
Matthew is supposedly a Jewish author. John is supposedly a Jewish author. Now Luke is a follower of Paul. So you have a Hellenized. It's at best it's a Hellenized Jewish person.
Yeah.
And then the other writings that are attributed as John and John of Patmos, which is not John the Apostle who wrote that, would still
I
be
didn't know
another.
that.
That would still be another Hellenized Jew who is writing this. So most of the New Testament is written by Hellenized Jews, or straight up, or just written by Hellenized Jews, but is written for or geared towards the Gentiles.
Yeah.
Now, Revelations is written more toward, it's kind of a balance between being written for the Gentiles and the Jews. But that's how
well, yeah, I totally agree. But it's white supremacy, definitely. It used to be Jewish, but now it's white supremacy. What color were the Egyptians back in the ancient days in the Old Testament?
It depends on what time frame.
Moses' day. I know not really slaves there, but what time?
So Moses time frame, which is debatable, would be between the 1200s BCE. I mean, the 1300s BCE. No, the early 1200s BCE to the mid 1500s BCE.
Yeah,
you would be looking at a kind of a dark brown, well, not dark brown, a medium brown coloring of the people at that time frame.
Oh, is it true? What's his name? Khufu, one of them was the first king of Egypt? Or is that a myth?
Khufu?
Yes, sir.
He wasn't the first one, no.
Was he black or white?
Well, he wasn't white. He would have been brown.
Okay.
Well, he would have been at a time frame where Egyptians were more dark brown.
Who was the first king, sir?
I don't know.
Okay. And about it being white supremacy, oh God. They said up here in the comment that when Jesus became God or something like that, then
let me answer your question. I just looked it up real quick.
Yes,
the first traditionally considered king of Egypt was Nemer, which would have been 3100 BCE.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that's the beginning of the first dynasty.
Was he black or white or brown?
No, he would have been dark brown, black.
Yeah, Brian
we would consider him black today.
All right. Brian Beck said when Yahweh became Jesus, he became white. What color did they consider Yahweh in the Old Testament? I never heard of them describe his race.
They would not have, because
yeah,
I mean, he would have been the same color of the Jewish people of that day but they would not have, because Yahweh, even though he has two different types of modes, whether he's an anthropomorphized version or it's just like a spiritual kind of.
Exactly right.
What's
his name's ate with him and stuff, and they swear up and down if you see him you'll die. I'm like, how do you believe this?
So he would have been
vaporized him or something.
If he walked around with Abraham and Abraham fed him and washed his feet and all that, he would have been a dark brown.
Exactly. He would have what?
He would have been dark brown.
Okay. Because I always thought that Rome made up the whole Bible. Because I thought that Abraham was white. I'm sorry, Adam was white, and then the first Jewish people came from Shem, Ham's curse, and black people, and the Japheth people stayed white. See what I'm saying? So I always thought God was a white person.
Some of that's some Hebrew Israelite shit mixed in with some Jewish shit.
Yeah.
The Jewish people would have never proclaimed Japheth to be the father of the Caucasians.
Really?
No, the Jewish people never claimed that. That is what the Hebrew Israelites claim.
Wow, what did the Jews teach? I never knew that. You blew my mind just now. 44 years old and I didn't know that.
I mean, to them, he would have been the father of the people in Turkey and Lebanon, Syria, all that.
Wow.
There.
So who do white people come from according to the Jewish people, sir?
They don't really care.
But Ham definitely made black people.
According to how they were, there was no such thing as black people to them. They were all brown, different variations of brown.
Okay.
So it would have been more about the land area. So from Ham, you got the Canaanites and you get the people of the Mizraim. So you got the Egyptians, what we call Egyptians today, and you would have the Ethiopians. So technically how they would have been the darker brown people out of but they would have all been the same. Brown.
It sure would have all been the same. Oh, what was I going to say about yeah, you changed my mind about Jesus a little bit. I used to think he was just a myth made up. I think that he was a historical person now, but that he borrowed if he had followers, borrowed the people wrote about him, like Paul borrowed from Mithra, Osiris, and other gods, and attributed it to him and made him. I think he was a historical person now, because I looked up Josephus, and atheists will say, especially me, I used to stand firm that there's no writings contemporaries of Jesus and the writings came hundreds of years after, at least 100. But if you look it up, Josephus was within I forgot how many years of Jesus. He was alive when Nero was alive.
Yeah.
So he was kind of a contemporary. So Jesus had to have at least been a physical person walking around if Josephus wrote about him, even though some of the stuff is obviously forgery, but Josephus would have known about him.
Well, Josephus
I think Jesus was a real person. He wasn't Messiah and he wasn't God, but he was real.
Well, Josephus wrote about 3 or 4 different Yeshua.
Yeah, he sure did.
And the main one
Jesus was real.
And the main one that Christians harp on is an interpolation, meaning they added to what Josephus was writing about.
It's a different writing style. They added it. You can tell it doesn't stick out from the rest of the verses. I mean, it sticks out from the rest of the verses.
So if there were many little itinerant preachers claiming to be the Messiah during the time frame of the 1st century. Now, if you consider writing about some Yeshuas 40 years later,
yes, sir,
be contemporary. Okay, but I don't. Contemporary, you have to be living during the lifetime of that person. So no one wrote about a Yeshua character in early 1st century.
Not even Josephus, who was like 40 years old when Nero was around.
Josephus was born after the supposedly Jesus character had already died. He was alive when the Jesus character supposedly
I see. So he would have been hearing about him, even though he was so he would have been just hearing rumors and stuff.
Yeah, he just been hearing stories of what happened and doing research about it.
After all the disciples died.
Yeah.
Well, that's close enough for me to believe that Jesus.
Now, some of the disciples, now there could still have been some people. So let me put it this way. There's still, by the time Josephus was old enough to write and have understanding, which you give him at least 20 years from his birth, then Josephus would have been old enough to recognize that he would have been old enough to that there would still be some people around who were alive at that time frame.
He sure would have.
But he didn't. There was nobody providing information about this Jesus character.
You sure would have.
Not the version the Bible has.
Oh no, not the version the Bible has. And there's something funny. The Jews say the Old Testament, the Torah, was written by Moses, but any scholar will tell you that the Torah was written by different scribes over hundreds of years. I'm like, how can Jesus be a prophet like unto Moses if Moses didn't exist?
Because
and I'd love to see him pull off that mountain transfiguration where he resurrected Elijah and Moses. And he resurrected 100 scribes and Elijah or something. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
that could not have happened. I'd have laughed at him if I was Peter.
If people are believing, by the time you get to the 1st century, people are believing that this Moses character was a real person. So they're going to attribute their Messiah types to Moses because they were living their society based on that.
How do you get somebody to believe that a made-up person was a real historical figure? I've never had that explained, how that can happen.
Say that one more time.
How can you get somebody to believe that a mythological figure was a historical figure like Moses? I've never seen that explained. I mean, that confuses me.
All history is written by people in an elite status.
Oh, okay.
So people in an elite status are given authority by the average person.
Yeah. Okay.
So if the elites are saying that this is real, then people accept it.
Okay.
All right. And we still do this today. Because if I were to go to a college and get degrees in biblical studies, then then more people will be accepting of what I say than people who don't, than people at right now, because I don't have degrees in religious studies.
Yes.
So we give authority to certain to the elite status people.
Yes, right? We sure do.
And that's why you will never see a poor person become president.
Yeah. Another reason I think is white supremacy. I should say YT supremacy. Can't say white without getting blocked.
No, I can say the shit. I just can't put it as a title.
Okay. There's a thing called the Shepherd's Chapel. He said that Caucasians are the true chosen people because in the Bible, it said specifically that the lost tribes of Israel went over the Caucasus Mountains and became Caucasians. Have you ever heard that?
I've heard some dumbass people say something similar. Yeah.
Yeah, he said that's where it says the tribes of Israel went, and they're the Caucasians, and that's the Jews, and are not the real chosen people of God and stuff like that.
No, there is no lost tribes of Israel. We know exactly what happened to the 10 tribes of the northern Israelites. They first became absorbed into the Assyrian Empire, and then more of them became absorbed into the Babylonian Empire. So, and then when they were freed by the Persians, they just became part of the Judaites, the southern tribes. So there's no lost tribes. We know exactly where they all went.
Oh, we sure do.
But
not stupid.
Let some more people get on here.
One final question. You said you're opening up a brokerage. Do you have like FCC stuff, FCC license?
I never said I was opening a brokerage.
Oh, what are you opening?
I have a
business.
A consulting firm.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'm not opening a brokerage.
Okay. Well, thank you, Coach. I'll talk to you some other time. What are you talking about tomorrow?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm good. Good luck on getting over your cold or whatever your illness was.
I'm good. Just still, my stomach ain't fully settled, but I'm good everywhere else.
All right.
It turned out to be a sinus and allergy infection.
See you, Coach.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, as a quick reminder, on December 14th, I put the link in the YouTube and Facebook comments. I put it in there again. I'm doing a seminar on the 9 businesses you should be opening or involving yourself in 2026. That's going to be on December 14th as a reminder. Also, as a reminder, on the 5th, on this Friday, I'll be on the show Truth Wanted. So please join me on the show Truth Wanted at 7 p.m. Central Time Zone. Look forward to that. Truth Wanted. Bishop Nubs. You're next, Eric. Bishop Nubs. See, now he not waited patiently all that damn time. Oh, there you go. Unmute your mic.
My bad, I forgot it was on mute. Oh, Flavius Josephus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you actually do some research on that guy, you'll find that there's a lot of correlations of his alleged testimony of life and the alleged story of Christ. And I say alleged because there's not a single firsthand account testimony of Jesus Christ ever existing as a physical man. If so, right, I would love to see it. Now, there is the thing, Philo of Alexandria, who said the word, way back when. And if you actually look at what he's talking about, he's not talking about an actual man either. Now, as far as white supremacy goes, I would say it has been directly used to implicate white supremacy, just like it's used as a tool for everything else. And I mean everything else. Because it allows you to have supremacy over somebody that's going to hell. And it doesn't matter then. so we can slaughter the babies and we can put people into slavery, and it doesn't fucking matter because Jesus is going to forgive us if we are sinning. And yeah. So like, it's just a bullshit ass excuse for attempting to dominate somebody else. And as far as the Vikings go, well, I would say, call me crazy, but I would say if it were not for the conquests of the Vikings when my people stole that little bitch ass eagle, yeah, they came in droves because we whooped their ass so bad. They needed multiple legions because we whooped their ass so bad. And you guys would say, well, that wasn't the Vikings, but where were the Vikings actually from? Oh, right, Scandinavia and Germany, prominently. Okay, so that's literally my people coming out. And unfortunately, my people were tricked into things like going on conquests against the ice. Well, the ice won because God on their side. Anyways, and not a direct link or lineage because I wouldn't be here because they had to be celibate, which goes against the very first commandment that the Bible gives you. Go out and multiply. So now when they were looking for the great white God, they were very interested in Odinism. Because Odin, well, that Odin, he was a lot like Jehovah, the god of thunder. So much so that he had a son that wielded Mjolnir. Wow, Thor? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And talk about a white Jesus. I mean, Thor. Yeah. So if we're gonna look, go ahead.
No, I just said sounds very similar. Go ahead.
Yeah, it all sounds very similar. And as far as Christianity, spreading, it doesn't matter who was in the if it were that black people were in power and it was used the same way, I'd be the fucking slave. But the sad part is if you look at actual history, I was the fucking slave, just like everybody else, because it's the religion that enslaves people. People following a religion enslave people. They do all kinds of fucked up things. Look at the guy in Texas that can't keep his hands off of little kids. Look at the guy in Minnesota that, by the estimate of the preacher himself, he said there could be hundreds of victims. And the Christian answer is to bury it because it's not gonna work for a loving God if you have a bunch of child molesters like you do. The whole thing is made up.
It is. And like, this is where me and Dollar were saying you can't generalize, but you got to be specific. After the Vikings, after the Roman Empire fell, and then, you had your time of everything being kind of like broken off into different kingdoms. But then some hundreds of years later, the Vikings who are going into Britain, in order for them to become citizens and not be treated like shit, they were forced over into Christianity.
Yep. And we were literally hunted and slaughtered. You know why? Because we had enough of their Roman bullshit, and we finally did something. And it was years and years after. You're right, absolutely, 100%. But if you notice, we didn't go after the people. The Viking era started when we bashed in the fucking church, the Romans.
But then, like I said, hundreds of years later, wasn't it William who then?
William the Conqueror.
Yeah, didn't he fuck y'all over again?
Oh, it happened time and time. But at the same time, I will say it was our own people that fucked ourselves over because we decided to change and Christianize so that we could be under Rome. Yeah, like as far as being legitimized as a kingdom of the world. So basically what happened is the Roman Catholics came in and said, no, we're the supreme authority. And that's why you had the Roman Catholic Rome died like, what was it? Just before the Civil War or something is the last Holy Roman Empire over in Germany.
Yeah, I think so.
It was right about the same time.
Oh, answer this question real quick, because I don't know much. You would probably know more than I would know about this person. Mats is saying that Balder is a Germanic god that was most similar to Jesus, not Thor. I don't know much about Balder.
I would say it would be a cross between the two, but yeah, no pun intended.
Definitely a pun intended.
I would say yeah. And then Loki would be very similar. The reason I say Jesus as Thor is because Loki is his brother, and the whole Jesus and Satan being brothers, and that's where I'm getting that. But as far as the storyline itself, he is prominently correct, but it has some attributes of both.
Okay. Gotcha.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah, I used to know a lot of the Norse mythologies, but I forgot them.
Well, they're just mythologies, just like it all. You know, that's why I don't run around saying, oh, I'm a Viking, because believing in Thor and believing in Asgard and all that bullshit is the same fucking thing. It's you know, whereas true Odinism, well, that's a little bit different. That's the search for wisdom.
Gotcha.
You know, that's like true Islam. I'm not talking about the Muslims, but I'm talking about the internal self-mastery. That's what I'm getting at. Because if it's self-mastery, then you don't need the slave. You're mastering yourself.
No, you don't need the slave. But let me get you off here. Let me let some more people, because I got a lot of people been waiting.
Right on. Much love from Asgard.
Oh, hell no. Hold on, let me make your picture bigger. That's some bullshit.
Here, I'll show you.
He's showing us his snow. For those on TikTok who can't see what he's looking at.
Well, it might not be snow. It might be plastic, but we're good 4.5, 5 inches.
Yeah, that evil shit that falls from the sky.
Yeah. Next time you get sick, you give me a call. I'll get you some herbs. You'll be right as rain. Much love, brother.
Appreciate you. Yeah, my sinus did kick my ass last week. I didn't even realize it was sinus at first because I didn't have the drainage, so I didn't think that it was sinus. But then I had the drainage, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is sinus." So then I was able to fix it. If I knew it was sinus right off the bat, then my last week would have been a lot different. As a reminder for everybody, I go one at a time, and I go in an order that I can perceive. People they sent their requests, so patience is a virtue. Eric.
Yes, sir.
Eager after that and Stink after that.
How's everybody?
Doing pretty well.
All right. I hope you feel better, man.
Pretty good.
Let's get into it. I personally believe that Christianity is 1000% slavery. Not so much in a physical sense, but in a mental sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you can control the mind, you can control how it responds and reacts to commands and how a way of life. To the Jewish side of the conversation that was spoke on earlier, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Sephardic and Ashkenazi Jews actually came down to the land of Canaan from Turkey and up in that area, which is not even considered the Levant. Actually migrated down and adopted the Hebrew religion, and that's how they became Jews. Whereas Mizraim were all in that vicinity. So if anybody has a clear distinction to Hebrew religion and law, it would be the Mizrahi. I can't say the word. Rather than
No, so are you saying Mizraim or there is Mizrahi?
Yeah, Mizrahi Jews.
Yeah.
So there's three sets of Jews, right? Sporadic, Ashkenazi, and Mizrahi, right?
Shit, I don't know.
Yeah,
Right now I can't. It's not coming to my head.
I know it's not with an M and H. I know that, but they would have more of an understanding of what Hebrew law was at that time than because the Ashkenazis and the Sephardic Jews. Sephardic is from Spain. Ashkenazis we know is from Europe. They're not Hebrews. They don't hold any type. And actually, what they did was they migrated. They adopted the law, adopted the religion, took it out and twisted it to fit their way of life and their narrative of what God is or what they think God is. So they completely twisted the religion, and that's what most Jews study today, especially on in the West. That's what most Jews study today.
Now,
So
that I can agree with.
If you're gonna say anything about Jews, especially modern day Jews, you gotta completely exclude Sephardic and Ashkenazi because they're Jews by tradition, not culture. If that makes sense.
No, it does because I mean that's all. Like I can become Jewish today. All I have to do is adopt the religion and adopt one of the cultures of one of the Jewish cultures, and then I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
I mean, you got that with the ones out of Ethiopia.
Yep.
They just adopted Judaism and adopted a culture, a Ethiopian Israeli culture, and now they're Jewish.
Yeah, I was also looking at. I ain't gonna be here too long because I got to get ready for a doctor's appointment. But I was also doing a little research the other day, and the Hebrews didn't even recognize what Westerns and most people in the East call God. They didn't even recognize him as God. It was Baal. But somehow Baal got transferred into being evil when it first got Baal was the Almighty, which is, I find kind of crazy because if that's the case, then nobody's worshiping the right thing. Everybody's worshiping him. Everybody worships some bullshit that some man brought up and said, this is who he is, and this is what you got to do. And now everybody rolling with it. And it just shows you how twisted not only Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Catholics, all of it just shows you how twisted the religion is and how fabricated it's become to fit the narrative of the people that serve whoever the fuck it is they're serving.
Yep, that's why I always say that religion follows culture. The culture doesn't follow religion.
Exactly.
Because the more and more you go back in history, you find that God of whatever group you're talking about always seems to fit that culture and then changes over the centuries to the next culture and to the next and the next.
Exactly.
As they're influenced by other people, they start changing it again. Right?
Yep.
Because I mean, once you get into the Assyrian captivity and especially the Babylonian captivity, all of a sudden the God of the Bible seems to function more like their God.
Yeah.
Whoever their supreme deity is, their primary God, they seem to function like their God. And definitely once they got that Persian and Greek influence, he changed again. To be more like
that's when God started to become more human.
Yeah. And Jesus in America is more of an American than he is a Hebrew or an Israelite. He's an American citizen as far as a lot of Americans are.
He got his citizenship with the Pilgrims.
He got that American God treatment.
I ain't gonna hold it up. I know you got a lot of people coming in, Coach. Man, look, like I said, I hope you feel better. Many blessings to you, man. You and your family, and y'all take care.
Appreciate you. Thank you, Eric. Gotta get to that doctor appointment. if you truly break the whole thing down, you'll see more and more of how these gods fit whatever the culture is. At first Yahweh was a thunder, destructive rain god, destructive storm god, and Baal was a fertility storm god. But then they started changing during the Assyrian captivity and started going away from Yahweh being this destructive one to the more fertile God and getting rid of Baal. And then by the time you get to Josiah, it's like, okay, we're going to get rid of him completely and make Yahweh both of them. And then after that, they merged Yahweh with El, who was the supreme deity who had a wife at the time. Right? So God always changes to fit the characteristics that the people of that day, depend upon their situation. Let's see if Rieger is still there. Nope. Got Sync 99. Uh, 999. How you doing? Hello? Sync. I can hear you breathing. I think that might have been an accidental. I get a lot of accidentals on TikTok. Okay. Miss Fifi, did you hit that on purpose, or is yours accidental? Let me know. Let me know, Miss Fifi. I don't want to bring you up if it was accidental. I know she'd be hitting it accidentally as well. I thought so. Yeah. I know when you be hearting it up on TikTok, oftentimes it gets thrown off. Said 999, that reminds you of Herman Cain. Man, how many, I've voted for Herman Cain. I don't usually talk about who I voted for. Most presidential elections, I will write my name in there because I don't like any of them fools. But Herman Cain, I did vote for Herman Cain back in the day. I wanted Herman Cain and his 999 plan, which is amazing because you're seeing similarities of that 999 plan being people trying to invoke that into our financial situation, our tax and finances of America today. If you never looked up Herman Cain's 999 plan, go look it up, but you might get mad because you might be like, shit, that's what we need. That's what we need. Get that flat tax. Yeah, I wanted a pizza deal. Yeah, that's his other claim to fame. I think what was the Godfather's Pizza or something like that, is that he helped that company to become what it became. I think it's Godfather's Pizza. But yeah, Herman Cain. Oh, we had missed opportunity, y'all. Missed opportunity with Herman Cain. Missed opportunity. But let me take it back to the elites a little bit. Even when you have a revolution, whether it's the French Revolution, American Revolution, Haitian Revolt, everything is always created by elites. And then the governing always happened by elites. And then when your religions are created, they're created by elites. There is not one religion or governmental system that has been created and ran by the layman. Right? Not one. So you have to think about what is the mindset of the elite people who are putting all these things in place. Moses didn't write the damn Pentateuch, not even slightly. These were scribes who were writing it. And none of these scribes would have been your common person. They would have all been whoever were in a status position at those time frames. This is why when the Assyrians conquered northern Israel and Judea, they took the elites and brought them into their kingdom. When the Babylonians, they did the same thing. Even when the Persians sent back the Israelites back to Jerusalem, the elites came in and they were the ones in charge of defining everything and determining everything. And in every aspect of your Bible today, it wasn't done by a layman. It wasn't done by some fisherman named Peter, some tax collector named Matthew. It would have been written by someone who was very educated into the elitist system, and they would have been the ones who were writing everything that you have as far as a religion is concerned. And that's every religion. When you look at Buddhism, was Siddhartha Gautama, I always mess that name up, but he wasn't a regular old dude just walking around. According to the legend, he was the prince, very well educated. So you don't get major changes in history that happen with common people, major changes in religion that happen with common people. It doesn't happen 99.9% of the time. I ain't gonna give it 100% only because of the world that we live in today. The world we live in today allows for the voice of the non-elite to spread, but invariably that non-elite person becomes part of the elites in one sense, in the fact of authority is given to that person. And they are held up on a pedestal of being in the elite category or even in the sub levels of the elites, right? Because when have you seen the down home country preacher who has not been educated by a system or educated through or self-education to the level that it brings them up to that level, right? You don't see them doing that. You see, it's very rare. Even somebody brought up Abraham Lincoln earlier. Even Abraham Lincoln, that most people recognize, was self-taught, meaning that he didn't go to formal schools and so on and so forth. And he did that at a time frame where formal schools, we didn't have the paper ceilings that we have today. All right, we have a paper ceiling today. He still had to educate himself to the level where the elites would accept him. And like I think Dollar said it. No, Indian Lake, Ohio said it. The non-elite voice can always be squashed by money. That is the other aspect of it, by money and by power. Right? I'm not saying it, but I am more of the line of self-educated. I am of the line of self-educated. My whole premise here, all of this that I do can easily be shut down by a whole bunch of money or a whole bunch of power or the combination of the two. Easily. We only have a voice as long as those in power and with money allows it. Because my Facebook page is a great example of it. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now at this point, 2.5 years ago, my Facebook page all of a sudden exploded. It exploded. And it was, if I had a video that didn't do over 100,000 views, I looked at that video as a failure, right? That's how well it was going 2.5 years ago. But then around, what year are we in? 2025 now? So that would have been 2023. No, 20. No, so 2020. Yeah, that was in 2023. So 2024, Facebook decided they was going to squash my voice. Right? And it squashed a lot of voices. Now, I don't think it squashed my voice because of what I talk about. I think it squashed my voice and many other people's voices because of the reach that it was having at the time frame. And I noticed that me and many people of the same ilk voices got crushed. Got crushed down to the point where if a video did 10,000 views, that was a high water mark. So it went from a high watermark video being 1 million views or 800,000 views to being 10,000 views. Right. So power and money can squash it, can squash you. And many people say, oh, that's where you got to create your own platforms and so on and so forth. Yeah, that's great. But you got to do that where you get the people. You got to do that where you're on a high note. Right. I'm mostly in audiodactic as well. I don't know what audiodactic means. So now I want you to think about it. The same thing that happens today is the same thing that was happening back then. Same thing that was happening back then. Some little carpenter dude, some little fisherman, some low-level tax accountant, tax collector, because realize Matthew was a low-level tax collector, low-level. Philo of Alexander was a high-level tax collector. Like he was a tax collector over all tax collectors in Alexandria, Egypt. He held power, right? So what Philo writes gets authority. Oh, audiodict is self-educated. Okay, appreciate that. It's autodictic. Dictat. Audio did it. That's how I'm gonna say it. So these people were in the elite caste. So no fisherman was writing in almost perfect Koine Greek. No fisherman named Peter would have spent the time to understand all the Greeks, all the Aramaic scrolls and Hebrew scrolls to the point where they can write in perfect Koine Greek. It's not going to happen, right? So these stories are written by those elites, and then other elites give it power. You don't hear you don't hear Christians saying the early church fathers and naming some obscure person. They're going to name people like Eusebius of Caesarea, who was the scribe for Constantine, and then the travel companion and scribe for Helena, right? Oh, Didac. Thank you. Didac. Thank you. You're going to see Augustine and Jerome and Irenaeus, people who were classically trained at that time frame. That's who determined what Christianity was going to be. Right? Not the people. The people never determine it. Just like in every governmental system today, the people don't determine shit. They make you think you do with your vote, but you don't. If the people determined it, we wouldn't have a 2-party system. We'd have a 10-party system, 15-party system. So you don't get that. Right. So the versions of Christianity that exist today was decided upon by the emperors, decided upon by the kings, decided upon by the lords and the dukes, and decided by the feudal lords, and decided by the senators and those people. And they, even though they hired the scribes, they're the ones who hired the scribes. So do you think the scribe is going to write something that is opposing to those people? Hell no. Hell, that's not going to happen. Do you think if those writings of Paul made the Romans look like the bad guy, that any of those writings would have been accepted? Like, people often say that, oh, they took books out of the Bible. No, they didn't. They just never were added to it. They were never part of it. Like the Gnostic writings that you find in Nag Hammadi, they were just never part of it, especially writings like the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas takes power away from the church, from the establishment of the elite people running the religion. So hell no, that's not going to happen. That book can't be a part of it. So we can't base what's authentic. And that's how they do it. They say, well, these are the ones that we like, that the elites like. Now, anything else that is going to be authentic has to be based on what these books are saying. Well, this Gospel of Thomas, it doesn't fit what we as the elites have said is what the Bible should be or what the religion should be about. So push that one to the side, even though it is written very well, even though it has some great understandings. Now, let's say, and just for shits and giggles, if they would have said, oh, the Gospel of Thomas, the Apocryphon of John, the secret writings of the Gospel according to Mary Magdalene, these are the core ones that the elites accepted, then your Matthew, Mark, John, Luke, none of those would have become part of your Bible because the elites had decided which versions. If you took that perspective and looked at the Council of Nicaea, did Constantine invite regular people to this conference? Or did he invite those Romanized Christian bishops? That's who he invited to Milan, and that's who he invited to Nicaea. So those elites decided the creed, the homoousis of God, Jesus, and the Spirit. The few elites that disagree, like Arius, we're going to beat his ass and kick him out. We just gave them some false representation is about it. But it was already decided what it was going to be. It's a fact of life that has existed before Christianity. It is a fact of life that will exist after Christianity. If the tribal chief and the elders decided what the sky was saying or what the animal spirits were saying and what this earthquake means, then the people accepted it because they give their authority. They give that authority to the elites. Now, it is true. The people do have the power. It's just that the people don't know how to use the power. The people don't know how to use the power because the people need a person that they can call an elite to give that power to. Think about it. The what was that shit called? The civil rights movement. You could call it the people's movement, the people's rebellion, all you want. But unless you give Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, what's the Black Panther brother name? Huey. Unless you give them authority, there is no movement. Though they were able to acquire enough authority from enough people to generate the movement. And even below them, you have to have those lieutenants who go out and they actually generate the movement. They get the people to back the leader. And all you're doing is giving your authority to an elite that you agree with. And that's just how it works. That's the human nature, the human mind. Right? Because if we put it in the right perspective, then we can see exactly what things are. Yep. Exactly. The people have been conditioned to put their power outside themselves always, always. That is the mindset of the people. Let me give power to something outside, because the average person doesn't think that they can do anything. The average person individually doesn't think that they have the power to move any needle whatsoever. It takes a person who believes they have the power to move the needle, but but then that person has to go and gather all those other people of like mind in order to move the needle. If no one talked about deconstructing from Christianity, then all the people who feel like they know there's something wrong with it, they want to walk away from it, but if there was no voice out there, they wouldn't do it. Most of them would do like what a gentleman said to me in a comment, or I think it was in a comment or a conversation I was having. I can't remember exactly because that was last week and everything is foggy from last week. But he said something. He was saying something to the effect that, shit, I just lost what he said. Oh, he said that until he had heard my voice, Kevin's voice, and he named a few other people, he said that he was just faking Christianity. He was just going along with his surroundings. Right. But then once he heard other voices that he can put stock in, then he stopped faking it. He stopped just going along with it. And that's how most of us are. Dollar said, and that person usually gets canceled. Yeah. There is a point. There is a point of growth. See, I can keep growing. Channels get bigger. More and more people are present. I ain't just talking about, because you have numbers. Like, obviously, not everyone is paying attention anymore. People have liked the channel, but they don't pay attention to nothing that's on the channel. I can keep growing, but there's a point of that growth where it butts heads with the higher, the establishment, that all of a sudden I would come under way hell more fire. I wouldn't just get the fire from the other layman Christians and so on and so forth. There's a point where the notoriety will create the enemies who don't pay attention to me right now. Right? Hell, Wes Huff is a great example. A year ago or so, a year and a half ago, nobody cared who Wes Huff was. He was just some student at that time frame. But he had that one moment that put him on a national stage and a worldwide stage. And although he gets a ton of support, he also gets a ton of rebuttal. 2 years ago, nobody knew who Dan McClellan was. He was doing what he was doing, but nobody knew him. But then he hit that point. And now he gets just as much support as he gets enemies. And people want to counsel you left and right. And every religion goes through that as well, and will continue to go through that. It's all about how well you break through it, what you acquired, what's behind you to break through it. Anyway. And when it comes to Christianity, going against this system, at some point, the government will come after you. Sean says, do you want to get that big and take on the heat? Here's the thing, Sean. This is something that people don't really know about me. Only people some of the people in my closest circle, or the closer circles to me, will know this. I don't mind taking on the heat. The heat is fine. I can deal with the heat. One, I don't have a problem when I'm wrong about something and correcting myself. I don't have a problem with that. The heat, no problem whatsoever. Those who disagree with me, no problem. I don't want to get that big. And there's a part of me that doesn't want to get that big because there's a part of me that doesn't like the loss of freedom. And when I say loss of freedom, I'm not talking about going to jail or anything like that. What I'm talking about is being able to go to a place and just be myself and enjoy myself. There are times where I'm meeting just somewhere, minding my own damn business, and run into people, and my time gets taken because they either want to debate me but most of the time it's the perfect example. Just thought about it. Went to Houston a couple of weekends ago. Was in this club that was funny as hell, watching the people. And this dude, this big motherfucker, he was big too, muscle dude, kept staring at me. And I was just like, oh hell, is this gonna be nice or am I gonna have to fight? Which one is it gonna be? Me, my wife, my brother, my nephew, just having a good time. But then the guy kind of like, oh, I follow your channel and everything was cool. And I was like, and then once he said that, I was like, okay, cool. I know it's not, it's friendly. But only because it was a loud club environment. Most of the time that turns into, now I got to switch from whatever I was there to do to accommodate, because I will accommodate people. Right. And the only thing he wanted to do at that moment, we took a picture together and all that kind of stuff. And, my brother has a little choice little words of picking on me a little bit. But he's seen it happen enough times that he doesn't bother me as much when it does happen. But it's that switch. I've always said I'd rather have the money and not the fame. So I'll take the heat. The heat wouldn't bother me. It's the loss of your freedom that bothers me. Right. Oh, somebody just said, I often say I don't want the fame. Don't want to be famous. I just want some of the rich guy in first class. Gotcha. Yeah, it was a pleasant exchange. And I told the guy if he ever sees me live to remind me that it's him, so that I can acknowledge him if he's ever on a live or even in the comments of a video. Because he was very respectful, just asked for a picture, just thanked me for what I do, and that was it. So that was cool. But there are other times where it's all of a sudden there's a portion of my night turned into, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. So if you ever meet me, don't feel like you can't say nothing. But I generally don't want to get into a long ass conversation about this. If I'm out on a date with my wife, I'm not trying to have that kind of a long ass conversation. But if we just chilling somewhere like at a park or a beach or just walking down the street, that's fine. Right. So yeah. So I don't mind getting big. I can handle it. I actually would enjoy the heat because I will come out better for it. Right. I would love for somebody to challenge me on something. I love when people, let me rephrase. I love when people challenge me on something. So it's cool. It's cool. So like I said, just to reiterate, if I run into you, don't feel like you got to avoid me. Right. Just know that we might have a conversation. We might not, depending on what's going on. So for instance, because I like to tell you guys my travel plans. December 21st, we will be stopping in New Orleans overnight, somewhere in around New Orleans overnight. Let me put it that way. December 22nd, we will be in Atlanta, but we'll only be there overnight. So I probably won't go many places when we get there that time. And then from December 24th till December 26th, we'll be in Wilmington, North Carolina. Right. Dwayne, I wouldn't mind if you came down if Dwayne is on here. Because probably I'm gonna need to get away from the whole family thing around that time frame. Because I'll get bored. So it'll be like, oh, you know what? I gotta go meet this guy, down at the cigar lounge. I'll see y'all later. So John and Dwayne don't have a problem when I'm in Wilmington during those days. Then from the 26th, 7th, 8th, 9th, to about the 29th, we'll be back in Atlanta. If you see me with my girls, don't bother me because I don't get to see my kids that often. So don't bother me. But any other time you see me during that time frame, it's cool. And then we'll be like December 30th, we'll be in Baton Rouge. Hopefully the ladies who are in that area that came to our meet and greet here in San Antonio will be available. But we had a great time. I know Lo asked that question a while ago, but we had a great time in San Antonio in October 31st. And then I'll be back home in San Antonio after that. So that's my upcoming travel plans for those who, if you're in those general driving areas. So yeah, remember December 14th, we're having our event on Eventbrite, 9 different businesses you need to start in 2026. Unfortunately, one of the ways that if I was like poor as fuck, y'all wouldn't listen to me. Is it a conference or seminar? No, it's not. This is just me traveling. When I hit Atlanta, we just traveling. There's no conference or nothing like that. But Jay, if there's I'll be shooting videos during that whole time frame, trying to do lives on the days that we're not traveling. But yeah, while we're in Atlanta, if you want to meet up, that'll be cool. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be at a cigar lounge. So no, it's not a conference. What we are having is October of 2026, we are doing a cruise that leaves out of New Orleans. You can go to my Facebook page at Coach Renz 33. You'll see one of the featured links, and it'll have all the information of the cruise that we're taking. So that'll be can meet up. You know, that's going to have a conference like feel because we'll have conversations. We'll have conference style conversations at least 2 of the days while we're out there on that cruise. And then we will be going to Chichen Itza and Cenote for a excursion, for one of the excursions. And Dollar said I missed that popcorn variety pack. Hold your breath a little bit. That popcorn might be coming back in the next year or so. Just hold your breath on it. It's going to be one of those 9 businesses, sorry, that I talk about when I get into the brick and mortar style businesses in that seminar that I'm doing on December 14th. All right. Let me put that link in here again. Let me get that link real quick. There's only a few people signed up for it right now. I don't care, even with it's definitely gonna be a seminar that I do on December 14th. As long as I got a few people, I'll do a seminar. So that'll be a webinar actually. But we will be having a grand old time on that webinar because you can't be if you want to have a voice, you can't be broke. You can't be broke. I know we talk a lot about these pastors who are just raping the people of their finances. But let's be real. If I was some broke dude living in the projects, y'all wouldn't listen to me. Y'all wouldn't listen to me at all. Just like a broke ass preacher, no one listens to a broke ass preacher. So that's why there's a part of this channel where I'm trying to get y'all to understand how to get your finances up. Got to get your finances up. That's why we did the Financial on Fire seminar. I do that at least once a year, if not twice a year, because you got to get your money up. If you want to help people get out of Christianity, a key thing is helping them to change their finances. Think about it. If Chris, let me tell you, you could grow Christianity by leaps and bounds by literally helping the people get their finances up. Sign up where I don't have the link on TikTok, Miss Fifi. If you go to my Facebook page or my YouTube page and click on the video, this same video, in the comments, there's a link. And let me put it on the description of, let me put it in the description of this video as well. Shit, let me got to go get the link again. I forgot to put it in the description. Usually I put it in the description of the lives. Any links that I got going on for these things. But yeah. Like it throws my mind into a tailspin. The fact that you got a lot of pastors who will teach that, oh, if you were to, you got to have hope and the money just gonna flow. Pay them tithes and the money gonna flow. If these same fools recognized that if they were literally teaching people how to up their finances and have a better financial life, and then the word get out that, hey man, you go to this church and everybody at this church is making money, they get their money's better, and you pull up in the parking lot and it's nice cars and these people are living in nice houses and they're investors, they're truly lenders, not borrowers, that church would grow like a champ. People like their money. They love their money. Dude asked me yesterday, do I love money? I told him, show him. Jay.
Oh, my bad, man. This is that was an accident, man. I'm trying to like the video.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the conversation, man.
All right.
Oh, hey, man, I know some good cigar spots, man. If you ever get out,
where?
Get out to Atlanta, man.
Where?
What's that?
What name? Which ones?
Okay, have you ever heard of Oasis in Marietta?
Oasis. Is that one up? That's up by Kennesaw?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I heard of that one, but I never went to it.
Man, beautiful spot, man. Great spot. And that's in Douglasville too, man. So
Douglasville.
Yeah. Douglasville, that's where Tyler Perry stays. It's on the outskirts of Atlanta.
I know where Douglasville is.
Oh, I thought you said Douglasville like you didn't know.
No, like what's the name of the cigar lounge in Douglasville? I'm gonna tell you something in a minute, but I gotta let you say. I'm gonna let you say what you say first.
Matchbox. Although I think they changed that name, but it was Matchbox the last time I've been there, man. But,
Matchbox.
Yeah, over there by the mall.
Oh, so they put a cigar lounge over there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember some young lady was going to open up one out that she had opened up one out that way in a house. She had converted a house over. I'm messing with you because I'm from Marietta.
I'm from Marietta?
Yeah.
Oh, so you know, okay.
And I used to own a cigar lounge in Stone Mountain.
Okay, so you already know.
I already know.
I'm trying to figure out where. I thought you were looking for places to go. You know the spots to go there.
Nah, if I would probably, to be able to talk to people, I would probably suggest Highlands. Because it's big enough and you can, how you can corner off an area. Have you been to Highlands?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. So I would probably suggest Highlands because it also is centrally located. Or have you ever been to El Jefe in College Park? Yeah. And El Jefe, you can kind of section yourself off there too if you get there at the right time.
Most of the good spots, I say, it really depends on the time you go, man.
Yeah. And if I ask Bo if I can borrow his conference room, he'll let me borrow his conference room too. So If I had people meet, if I told Bo I got some people meeting me down here, but we want to have a private conversation, he'll probably let me use the conference room.
Oh, well, yeah, man. I'm gonna hit you up, man, at DM then.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, for sure, man. But yeah, it was an accident, man. I'm just trying to tap the phone and everything. So
Yeah. What part of town are you in?
I'm in Villa Rica.
Oh, god damn. Shit.
Yeah, man. You gotta have you some land, you know?
This is true.
You know, I'm looking into that, and I can tell you.
This is true. That's one of the things that when I do this seminar about 9 different businesses you need to get into, there's a couple of different land plays that people should be making next year. Yeah, and it's not just buying the land; it's the utilization of that land. So, you own some land in Douglasville? I mean, in Villa Rica?
Yeah.
How much?
2 acres.
You living on it?
In a quarter mile, turn right after Martin's Restaurant, Mableton location.
Okay, well, we know where he at. He in Mableton, y'all.
Man, FBI on here, man. I don't know. We're gonna disclose that.
So, like one of the plays. So let me give you one of the plays of when you own land, especially out there in Villa Rica. How close are you to I-20? Don't mute your damn mic. Turn that mic back on. We don't care about your directions. Nah, I couldn't hear shit. How close are you to I-20?
I'm right out for 20, man. I'm probably about 15 minutes away.
15 minutes away from 20. 2 different plays you can do out there. One, you could take probably one of those acres and make it a parking lot for, and you ain't got to use you can just use gravel, but make it a parking lot for the trucks. Because the trucks, these truckers, especially the independent truckers, they need a place to park their truck, and it's a bunch of them motherfuckers live out that way. And
Absolutely, that's a great idea.
You can make that automated. Now, another one is RVs, RV parking and tiny houses. You can do a combination of the two, and put up a building for your laundry service, put up a building for snacks and a shower. And you can have tiny houses on there, or just have where they pull up with the RVs or their fifth wheels, and just have the electrical post, and then you just need one spot for clean water, dirty water.
Yeah.
So for
something with like minimal overhead.
Yeah, and one employee could run that. 2 employees, so that somebody can have some time off. But 1 full-time, 1 part-time employee, depending upon if you put a little store on there. But you could do, if you don't want to have an employee, you can make it fully automated and then have vending machines on the property. And that way the people can just pull up. They can stay there for however much, they can rent it for however much time, and then they can leave. But yeah, buying some land and making it into like a little mini RV resort or a tiny home resort. It's a great way to make money going forward from 2026 on. But definitely, and the trucks being able to park there overnight or for 3 days, 4 days, it's a way to make money on that land.
You know what, man? That's funny, man. I'm really gonna seriously consider that, because I was thinking about how expensive it is to park downtown. I was like, man, if I could get one of these spots, man, if I could buy a little space, then I can make some good money. But man, I never even considered doing a parking spot in Villa Rica.
Yeah, for trucks
and
RVs. Hell yeah. I know they roll like a champ there through I-20.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Man, that's a great idea. Bro.
Now,
yeah, we have to top it up, man.
Now, there's one thing about the trucks that you have to be aware of. In about 15 to 20 years, you're gonna have to flip that into something that's RV or tiny house situation, because it'll be cheaper right now to do it for trucks, but have the plan to convert it in about 15 to 20 years to tiny homes and RV, because in about 15 to 20 years, you're going to see more self-driving trucks on the road. So once the self-driving trucks hit, that business is going to die. It's going to start dying out, right? So that's a window to get your money built up on that land without having to put a lot into it right now, but then build up the secondary investment to convert it into RV and tiny home resort.
Absolutely.
So buying land is one of the 9 things that I'll be talking about in this seminar on December 14th, and the things that you do with it. Because you got to buy land with a purpose. Yeah. And I understand what you're talking about parking lots downtown Atlanta or any downtown area. That's a much larger investment.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. But if you got the money, it's a great investment. Yeah.
But you're right, man. Because really, for a purpose, man. My wife and I, man, we just kind of somewhere, just have some privacy and some space, you know. But you're right, though, man. That's a great idea, man. So yeah, I would definitely like to chop it up about that.
Yeah, well, one way to chop it up is on my conference that I'm having December 14th. The online one.
You posted the link.
I can't post it on TikTok, but it's on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay,
it's
the same. It's Deconstructing Christianity, right?
Mm-hmm. Go to the one on. Go to YouTube and click on this particular video, and you'll see the link is in the description of the video. For the Eventbrite, yeah. I appreciate the self-promoting conversation there. And don't forget to DM me so that we can, see if there's a possibility to meet up while I'm in Atlanta after Christmas, in between that Christmas and New Year time frame, that weekend.
What's that?
Like that weekend in between Christmas and New Year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, it's me and my wife, so it's pretty flexible out.
That worked. Good.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate you, Jay. Yep. Yes, that was all self-promotion. Got to do it. Are you taking any spiritual advice or questions? Yeah. Just click on that link. Y'all give me 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. All right, I'm back. All right. Let's see. I've seen trucks driving by themselves. Yep. Self-driving trucks are on the way, just like self-driving cars are on the way as well. Being ready for those changes is very important. For most people, it's not going to affect them in a business format, but there are certain business aspects that's going to affect you greatly, right? The way things are moving, period. Actually, and there's a couple of other land plays. So when I do talk about these 9 businesses, when I do talk about buying land, there are some sub plays that you can utilize that land for that will be to your advantage going forward for the next 20 to 30 years, right? So be ready. You better be ready. Like I've been telling my truck driving family members, the ones who've been in it for a long time, you're pretty safe. The ones who just got started over the last 5-6 years, you better start figuring something else out because this shit ain't gonna last. Yeah. The truck driver will be gone in about 20 to 30 years. Be gone. Some of y'all Lyft drivers and stuff, y'all shit gonna be gone too. Waymo is getting bigger and bigger, and you know, Lyft and Uber are going to start copying Waymo. So that little extra money, you better make the money while you can with Lyft and Uber, and have a plan for that damn money. Don't make it your lifestyle, because it's gonna be gone. It will be. People gonna be saying it's the mark of the beast, but they're gonna be getting in them cars. They're gonna say it's devilment. But when you don't have a choice, your ass is getting into a self-driving car. Also, in about 20 to 30 years, damn near every car is going to be self-driving, and it'll be somewhat illegal to drive without, if you are driving your own car. And then your insurance price is going to be high as fuck if you're driving your own car. I guarantee you that within 20 to 30 years, there will be certain roads that you cannot drive on if you're self-driving. I mean, if you are driving, the car will have to be on the little auto thing, self-driving thing, in order to go down that road. I would imagine the highway systems are going to be the first roads that they start saying in about 30 years that you can't drive on. The car has to be self-driving. What religion are you? I am of no religion. I don't believe in religions. Religions are man-made things, and so is the gods of those religions. Kingdom Crump, you asked the question. I put the link out there. Let me put the link out again. If you want to come on and you got something that you want to add to the conversation, that would be great. If I don't get anybody in the next few minutes, we're gonna call it a day. I'm just looking at questions now. Explain the Trinity. The Trinity, explain it in a sense of it being real, or explain it in a sense. Well, the Trinity is a made-up concoction in order to facilitate the one God aspect for Christianity. Prior to the Council of Nicaea, you had encampments of people who said that there was a Trinity, that there's not a Trinity, that Jesus was a created being and not one with God and same as God. Council of Nicaea, they decided that Jesus and God are one and the same. Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit, I should say, are one and the same. So it created this idea it solidified the idea of the Trinity as the primary thought process within Christianity. But as far as there actually being a Trinity, there isn't one, because neither of the Father don't exist. Jesus as a son of God in the way the Bible describes him does not exist. And so this Holy Spirit, that as far as it being the Spirit of God, that doesn't exist either. Who is God? The Holy Spirit made up shit. Things that people made up. Jesus is a legendized character. The Holy Spirit is the feminine side of what all you religions used to have, that they created into this Holy Spirit. And then God the Father is just a made up God that people have created, just as any other God that was created. All right, I'm going to try Sphinx 99 again. I don't know if it was by accident. 999. Yeah.
Oh,
Was that accident or you did it on purpose?
I did it on purpose. I felt like I was like behind on some time with what you were saying. Like, that's funny.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I clicked on you earlier, but you didn't say anything, so I thought it was by accident. So that's why I was asking.
Now, you just made a statement about these beliefs about like how they create these religions and all these characters.
Right. What about it?
So, like, I'm reading a book right now. It's a voodoo book.
Mm-hmm.
It's written by Milo. I don't know, somebody. But basically, what he says is like the voodoo priests or whatever, they create these these I don't know, these gods or whatever, and the priests are the ones that create it based upon what I'm reading in this book.
Yeah, I mean that would be true. No matter what religion or culture that you look at, they've initially created these. They looked at nature and saw the events happening in nature, and from that they started manifesting that into gods. All right, and the whoever was politically in charge of the group and would determine who was going to be the religious leader, if not them, if not the person was one and the same, and so people began to worship these different gods based on what they predicted or saw in nature. So if you saw the sun coming up every day, then go down, then the sun comes back up, and then somebody was like, oh, there's a God who's doing that, and he does it every time I give him an offering, and as long as I keep giving him an offering, he'll keep making the sun come up. And so they tell the people, if you want the sun to come up, you got to give me the offerings. And so the people would abide by that, and then they develop into this religion. Same thing with a river, a storm. Oh, the storm happened. It's because we were being disobedient to this God. Or we're having a drought. It's because we were being disobedient to this God. So we got to make sacrifices so that we can please the God, and then he will bring back the rain, you know, or not punish us by flooding the shit out of us. So the elite of any group created these gods.
Yeah, that's what I get from like me studying, reading this book, and like from these years of me like studying this information since I've, you know, quote unquote, had my little spiritual awakening and start studying all this stuff. It's like I realize it's really just men creating these concepts, and then people believing in these concepts, and that's what just gives it power.
Yeah, it does. It's just like the gentleman who was asking me about the Trinity, because even when you have a concept, and then when there is a flaw in the concept, so you had Judaism, which had their one God, right? By the time you get in the first century, Judaism has its one God. Now this Jesus character is created, and he is this son of God. But then that creates a conflict where people is like, oh, we worship in two different gods, and that's not right. So then over like throughout the time frame of late first century, second century, third century, you start having conversations and fights about who this character is. And on one side, they're saying that, oh, they're all one and the same. Jesus was God. And they look for stuff in the past to be able to make him that God, you know, make him one with that God. And then they look for things that they can take from the New Testament writings and say, oh, no, see, John said in 1 John 1:1, he said that they are one and the same. So they try to utilize those things to, and then they formulate this idea of a Trinity. And then they argue about it until the emperor says, y'all got to get this shit together. And then once the emperor says so, then he gave authority to the Orthodox guys who said that it was one God. And that was supported by the government. And so since the government supported it, then the people followed suit with it. And especially about 30 years later, when you get this Emperor Theodosius, and he's like, oh, y'all damn sure gonna follow it or I'm gonna kill you. And so the people follow it now out of fear of the government.
So you think that, like, the original Christians, they had this they had a concept of the divine feminine. Do you think they had it?
Some of them, not all of them. So
they had like a kind of like a Shakti understanding and what they called it, Shekinah or whatever.
A who? Shakti?
Shekinah. I said Shakti as far as like Hinduism.
Oh, Shakti.
Like as far as the Christians they have what, the Shekinah or the Asherah or what?
No, not so much, because they had already Judaism had already gotten rid of Asherah. They had already gotten rid of the divine feminine. So they wouldn't have had that in first century. So pretty much none of the first century Christians, which is still a variety of Christianity at that time frame, most of them wouldn't have had that idea of a divine feminine. So they concocted the Holy Spirit to take the place of the divine feminine, right? Because even in your like Gospel of Thomas, he doesn't recognize a divine feminine of Mary Magdalene. Instead, he converts Mary Magdalene into a man. So no, so they wouldn't have had that.
I wish I could turn my camera on. This sucks.
Yeah, it's all right. But yeah, so they wouldn't have had that at that time frame.
Okay.
Really, you start getting the ideas of a divine feminine in Christianity started coming around the late 1800s, early 1900s, with more of an Enlightenment mysticism being added to Christianity. But even that movement pretty much fails. It doesn't grow as much. And then you've had a resurgence of it over the last like 20, 30 years.
All right.
Yeah. But in truth, there is no divine feminine. Once Josiah, in and around the 600s BCE, got rid of Asherah, Judaism loses its divine feminine. Prior to the 600s, there was a sense of the divine feminine because Yahweh or El had a consort, Asherah, and that was their divine feminine.
Now let me get this straight. El and Asher had a relationship, right?
Yeah, that was they were husband and wife.
And then after that, Asher becomes someone else's wife.
Well, they take Yahweh and they mix Yahweh and El to be one God together, because Yahweh, and so Yahweh in the 700s he starts having the wife Asherah, and then in the 600s they get rid of Asherah.
Originally his mama, though, right?
Huh?
Who was originally his mama?
He was originally his, yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to follow this mythology.
Yeah, and so then Josiah gets rid of Asherah and just turns her into a pole. That's it. She's just a stick. And so
mythology is crazy, man.
Yeah. So from the middle of the Assyrian, towards the middle end of the Assyrian captivity, they get rid of Asherah. So by the time they get into the Babylonian captivity, they don't have Asherah anymore. So there is no divine feminine in Judaism for at least 600 years before Christianity. Yeah, so Christians wouldn't have thought that way. They had the same patriarchal chauvinism that Judaism had.
All right.
Oh, wait a minute. Isaac just reminded me of something. Now, the Gnostic Christians, they had a sense of a divine feminine, but more in the astral plane area. So they had what was called the Sophia. So you have the Pleroma, which is the energy and source of all things. Then you had Sophia, which was the divine feminine of wisdom. And then you had Yaldabaoth, which was all masculinity. Yaldabaoth, though, is the one who created the earth and then trapped all our souls on the earth. So it is thought that Jesus comes from the Pleroma and with the Sophia into the earth to try to teach people how to get back to the Pleroma. So there is a sense of a divine feminine within the concept of Jesus, but it's not functioning alongside the Jesus character. So you, in Gnosticism, you have a little bit of it in there.
Where do you think where we are right now?
What do I think?
You see this purgatory.
No, I just think we on Earth. we on Earth.
You know, the only reason why I said that is because based upon the things I do and my experiences and these people I experience and talk to, I feel like it's like this is like a purging, cleansing process. And some people do it and some people don't.
Yeah, but purgatory that's really a Greek thought process. That's something that they picked up from the Greeks. So in the Greeks, Hades had like multiple places. You had Elysium, you got Tartarus, and then you got a few other places where people who weren't as good, weren't as bad, but they're gonna be in this place for a little bit of time until they figure some things out, and then they're either gonna go to Elysium or they're gonna go to Tartarus. So that's more of a Greek teaching that the Catholic Church had for a while, because even they've gotten rid of purgatory.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they've gotten rid of purgatory, and what was the other place? Limbo.
Oh, I didn't know they got rid of it because I came up in that area. So
yeah, but that's just a philosophical place that people, they created so that people can say, "Oh, my ancestor is in purgatory. Let me still go to the church and I can give them money or animals and pray for them to be able to get out of purgatory." It was a great money maker.
It's always a money maker.
Yeah, it was a great money maker for people. Hey, your relative is in purgatory, so if you give me 20 pieces of gold, then I can do my magic spell prayer and get your family member out of purgatory. So it was just a money maker for them. But they picked that up from the Greeks, because the Greeks had that. It influenced the Jewish people a little bit, but it was a big influence on the Romans. The Romans loved everything Greek. So when the Roman Church was established, they incorporated those ideas because a lot of the people were still believing in that sort of thing. Yeah. So you got those different things, but no, we on Earth, living your conscious life that you have on Earth.
It's crazy though. Like as far as following the Bible and stuff, like I be fucking with ChatGPT a little bit, and like I be asking all type of crazy questions. And they said like most of the literacy, like the way it's written like in a Greek style of writing.
Oh yeah, you talking about like the Old Testament?
Yeah, I'm just talking.
New Testament.
Greek literacy. I think that's the right term to use.
It is. You can see how the overwhelming majority of the Old Testament and even the New Testament, because it was translated. The overwhelming majority of the New Testament was written for a Greek audience. The translation of the Old Testament into Greek was written more towards Greeks than it was towards the Jewish people. Because if it was a Jewish idea and a Greek idea and they had similarity, but it was more, they leaned more to the Greek thought process of it, like with the whole virgin aspect of it from the Bible, right? Even though the Hebrew have multiple ways to describe a young woman, if you use the word Bethula, that is a virgin girl. If you use Alma, that's just a young woman. She could still be a virgin, but most likely she's just a young woman who is betrothed to a man or married to a man, and she's just young. So it doesn't necessarily mean virgin. So when the Greeks saw the word Alma, they just went ahead and translated it into their word for virgin. And even though the Greeks had different ways of describing a woman in the same way, but they still chose virgin over just a young woman who could or could not be a virgin. So it does have more of a Greek leaning than a Hebrew or Israelite leaning. You with me?
I'm here, man.
Yeah. So I would agree with you on that one. It all of it does lean more Greek. And if you wanted the Romans to accept it, it has to lean more Greek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Romans weren't
crazy that we got this at such a young age, and it was just installed in us, and we still have to like deal with these ideas that's been programmed in our subconscious.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's how it's always been. I mean, think about it. If you were living around 400, well, yeah, around, let's say you were living at 350, 360, you see all these Romans converting over to Christianity. You see the Roman elites converting over to Christianity, but you still want to believe in your God. You know, let's say you was worshiping Jupiter, but you see all these other people converting, and then all of a sudden the emperor comes and said that everybody got to be Christian. So now you got to get rid of all your thought processes on how you used to worship Jupiter or Apollo or any of these other gods, right? So that's a huge change. And then, of course, you might have been teaching your kids about Apollo, but now you're being forced to worship Christianity. You can't function in government if you can't worship Christianity, if you don't worship Christianity. Kind of like how the Bible talks about you won't be able to buy or sell unless you take the mark of the beast. You can literally make a case that the people in the late 4th century, early 5th century could not buy or sell unless they took on the conscious idea of Christianity, which the mark of the beast on your forehead is just the conscious idea of believing in something.
Yeah, you know, it makes a lot of sense. Like, even like when sometimes I've been on little dating apps, and if I say I'm not a Christian, I'm getting stones thrown at me.
I'm saying,
they like, how dare you not be a Christian?
Wait a minute. I'm gonna make the assumption you're a black man in America.
I'm in LA, man. It's Vincent.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, this Vincent. Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought I recognized the voice, but I wasn't sure. Exactly. Earlier in this podcast, I was saying that exact thing, that as a black man, you say you don't believe in Jesus, you get kicked to the curb. I mean, people used to ask me back, like 10 years ago, why I still would date Christian women, and part of the reason was, hell, I can't find a non-Christian woman.
Yeah, exactly. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah,
but until you get one that's like super religious, and you go there feeling like mad at yourself.
Right, but or if she was a non-Christian woman, she was into some kind of mysticism shit that I was just like, hell, that's just as bad. They was into some kind of levels of mysticism, talking about, we in shit. I can't think of the words that they use.
Dimension, 4th dimension.
Yeah, we living in this dimensional plane, and I'm like, no, the fuck, we not. You got about as much proof of that as a Christian had of their bullshit. I was like, no, you still believe in a sense, you still believe in the religiosity that all these other religions had, that the religion that you just left, temporarily dated a Ifa girl. I was like, okay, you went from Christian to Ifa. So you went from Jesus and Yahweh to Odomare and Mama Wata. So shit.
And the big homie issue.
Huh?
Don't forget about big homie issue.
Big homie issue?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is that?
Ain't she supposed to be a child of issue?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Issue. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, she done had some priest in Ibadan determined that I was, from the reading of, I did one of the readings. I'm always curious about those kinds of things. I did one of the readings. She now took the readings to her dude in Ibadan, and he looking over the readings, and then me and him had some conversation. He was like, "Oh, you are a priest of Eshu." But then he was smart enough to say, "But you know, you don't have to. You are so far, you know, you at such a high level that you don't have to go through the rituals." Because I was looking at him like, I ain't going through no goddamn ritual. Do that shit. Now he gave me the robes and stuff, which I lost. Actually, I think they was purposely thrown away by some insecure person, but we ain't gonna go there.
Yeah, I know that go.
But
I remember a couple of albums I had when I was young. I disappeared out of my life. I was like,
yeah. But he knew I wasn't gonna go through none of that bullshit. Like, dude, I'm not finna go through here and go through some rituals and drink this shit and eat that shit and then kill some animals and all this stuff. No, I'm not doing it.
They want you to kill animals, for real?
Oh yeah, and Ifa, animal sacrifice is still a big thing.
Oh, I don't know. I don't follow it that much.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot about it from her, and she had an incredible library on Ifa, so I learned a lot about it at the time frame. Because, you know, I was curious. I want to know about what my ancestors, because my ancestors do come from that area. So, well, some of my ancestors. So I wanted to, you know, what the hell were they? What were they believing in before they got the damn whips and the chains? You know, so I was curious about it, but I looked at it with the same skeptic eye that I looked at Christianity. Like, okay, what's the reality of this shit? Like, you can't prove any of this. Shango probably was a good king or a warrior king of some type, but I doubt if he rose up into the heavens and became a god. That part I was like, nah. And he ain't controlling the damn lightning and the storms. Cool ass figure though. Got his axe and everything. I went and got a statue of him because I was like, he looked pretty damn cool. I like that dude.
Yeah, I like Shango too.
Yeah, and then you know it got some good stories that you can apply to your life and everything, especially with Eshu, because Eshu is kind of like a somewhat of a Loki type character, but not in a bad way. It's like he will trick you into doing something to your betterment. And you may think it's a punishment, but then it turns out to be something good for you. So,
you know what's crazy about belief? I did some Eshu stuff, and then I had experience someone in my walking world. I seen a blind man and stuff, and he had the red on. I was like, "Oh, blind man!" I was like, "Is this really Eshu, or am I just putting too much into this belief?"
your mind, the mind is a very powerful thing. The mind will create whatever it is you want it to be. Your mind could take almost any experience and make it fit into whatever spiritual belief that you have. Right. So this is why you got Hindu people who will have the same spiritual experiences that a Christian has, but they will all place it on their God, not be able to prove it or demonstrate it in any form or fashion. So,
yeah. So after that experience, I was like, I'm tripping. I'm trying to put too much on it. I'm trying to put too much on it.
I mean, my wife experienced 2 big ass rats fighting in LA. If she was a spiritual person, she could have made that into a spiritual experience.
You see 2 rats?
No, they literally, yeah. There were 2 big ass rats fighting on a highway bridge.
You know, I got another one, Odin. I was messing around. I started messing with the Odin, right? So I went to the park and I seen all these ravens. Damn, what's the number? 8941. Yeah. I went to the park and then I seen all these ravens at the park. It was like, okay, I can make this something, but I'm not gonna do it. My girlfriend though at the time, she was like, it's Odin. I'm like, we just happen to go to the park and just happen to be ravens here.
See, you can turn any damn thing into whatever you want it to be. Yeah, you go to Antarctica and then see a bunch of ravens. Then I give you some credit. So I'm just saying, you go to a place where ravens don't exist, and all of a sudden you see a flock of ravens. I might give you something on that one. But you just in a park in LA and you see some ravens. That's like me going to New York and seeing pigeons. Yeah. What I'm supposed to call it a religious experience when that damn seagull tried to steal my churro in San Diego?
I had a religious experience when what the thing's called? The pedophile ran across me. He ran across my face and got me dirty. I was at the La Brea tar pit. I got char on me.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. You're making a whole bunch of noise.
I'm over here trying to eat this damn. I just got some Jersey Mike's. I'm about to tear this shit up.
Well, it's good because I'm about to get off here because I've been on here for 3 hours and 50 minutes. And yeah. All right, man. I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm fine.
You good, though? That's right.
Yeah, I'm good. But I'm about to get off here. So I appreciate you. All right, Vince. Late. Said that was not a seagull that tried to steal your churro. It was an angel of God. I'm a seagull. I'm a seagull survivor. I survived the seagull attack. That's what I say. I'm one of the few people survived the seagull attack. Try to steal my damn churro. But okay, yeah, let's make our way out of here. I appreciate everybody for being on here. Thank you for gifting the memberships. I don't know if you guys saw that on YouTube. I have been making a few videos that members get to see about 2 weeks earlier than everybody else gets to see them. So membership have its privileges, but these were gifted, and I wasn't able to. People were in the middle of talking, so I didn't want to interrupt. But I want to thank Indian Lake, Ohio, for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So y'all snatch them up if you haven't already snatched them up. You're a devil dog. Did the churro, man? Yeah, he came like right over my shoulder. Angelina saw the shadow of that motherfucker coming too, and she didn't say nothing. But he came right over my shoulder, but he grabbed the paper. The paper got snatched out my hand, but the churro itself, he didn't get the churro. So now I'm eating my churro and my street corn like this because I'm like these big ass San Diego seagulls up here attacking me. What man say? You want to see my DD-214? Yeah, I'm a devil dog. Don't get it twisted now. The seagull didn't win. Jay Thompson, look at God. You know what, Jay? That's what Christian people. But God saved my churro because He knew that I was going to need the energy of that churro to be able to continue to enjoy my visit in San Diego. And because we wanted to see the little seals that was sitting down there in the water. So I'm a seagull survivor. Just like my wife is since we moved to San Antonio, she's a garter snake survivor, a possum survivor. And what else happened? Oh, we had 2 young coyotes that just came walking up the street like they live here. We survived that because they sure looked over at us like we was a meal. She's an owl survivor because she thought that owl that flew and landed on the roof of the house while we was outside, she swear up and down he was trying to come and get her. And then wasp. Oh yeah, she survived the wasp in San Antonio. She got stung. Whoo! Yeah, it's been an interesting year here in San Antonio. I say that to say the least, as far as with animals and shit. But hey, don't forget, in the oh no, it's not all nighter, Kevin. I'm about to get off. In the comments of this video, as well on YouTube, as well as in the description on YouTube at Coach Renz 33 or Deconstructing Christianity, you'll see the link for our December 14th webinar, 9 businesses you need to start in 2026. That's going to be happening. It's going to be a great seminar because I say so. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for the cruise, you better hurry up because them damn cabins are going fast as hell. On my Facebook page at Coach Renz 33, Deconstructing Christianity, you'll find a featured, which will tell you everything you need to know about that cruise that we're taking in October of 2026. And yes, people do book cruises a year in advance. Actually, they be booking the joints like 2 years in advance. And we'll be traveling through Louisiana and Georgia and North Carolina the last 2 weeks of November. So if we can meet up with some people, that'd be great. If not, that'd still be great. But just to let you guys know, as I always do. And don't forget, this Friday, if you're watching this on replay, this Friday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time frame, join me on Truth Wanted. Truth Wanted. It's a show that's hosted by the atheist nonprofit organization, the largest one in the world. Join me there, Truth Wanted, on December 5th, this Friday, at 7 p.m. Central Time Zone. So that's 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. Specific time frame, but Truth Wanted. So I look forward to be there. But yeah, don't subscribe to after I'm on Truth Wanted. Like when I'm on it, you can subscribe then. And get my credit, so they'll invite me back. Unlike some people who first times on the show, they told me I can be myself, so I'm gonna be myself. Only thing I can't do is have a cigar while I'm on their show, and that's perfectly fine. So I look forward to that conversation this Friday. Look forward to our conversation tomorrow. Remember, we go live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 11 o'clock Central Time Zone. Of course, 90% of the time I'm late, but just know that we still gonna do the show. So y'all have a great day, and always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations, and I am out. Gotta call. Oh, today is my friend's birthday. Gotta call my friend. Wish her a happy birthday.